All right, and we are live. Welcome, everyone. Watching on Bell 5 TV1. You are catching draw, I don't even know what draw this is. 5? 6?
This
6.
is the men's fifth draw.
Oh, sorry, 5. Yeah, there's only 7.
It is the men's fifth
Of
draw.
the Deloite Tankard here at the Dartmouth Curling Club, the Nova Scotia Provincial Men's Curling Championships. We're also hosting the Scotties, which is the Women's Provincial Curling Championships. My name is Selena Thompson, and I am joined by Carly Jones. Welcome, Carly.
Hello, thanks for having me, Selena. And thanks to Selena, I'll mention to all the viewers, Selena took a lot of time this week to organize this commentating and to have commentators here for all the games. So thank you for doing a
So
great
if you
job.
have complaints, you can write them on a piece of paper and throw them in the garbage can. No, we're really pleased to have everyone watching. I've heard that we're getting some nice viewership here on Bell 5 TV1, and we are so pleased to be able to present every draw to you during the round robin and every playoff game. So we have 2 games broadcast during the round robin. Right now we're featuring, if you're tuning in, it's probably because you're taking a look at Team Kendall Thompson or Team Jamie Murphy. And if you flip over to the other stream, you can catch John and Dan, and they have the Dacey versus Power game. So depending on which one you want to watch, you can flip back and forth, but we're happy to have you here. And to get things started off, Team Murphy throwing the first rock. They have the Blue Stones and the Yellow Jackets, and Team Thompson with the Gray Jackets. That's Kendall down there. They have Hammer.
Yeah, so we were just talking before this game. This is a really big game right now. Both of these teams are 3-1, along with Team Chad Stevens, who's also 3-1. So whoever wins this game, and depending on what happens in the Stevens game, someone could take first place alone here after this.
Absolutely, and big day for Team Kendall Thompson. I keep referring to him by first name because his brother Stuart is also in this event. They're on the next sheet over on sheet E. Kendall was 3-0, the only team at 3-0 coming into today, and actually lost this afternoon, or this morning, to Greg Power. So that brings him to 3-1. And Jamie Murphy earlier today defeated Mark Dacey to improve to 3-1. And of course, Chad Stevens, the other team you mentioned at 3-1, they defeated Team Stuart Thompson. So they're at 2-2. The other teams in the event that we haven't mentioned yet, Stuart Thompson's taking on Brent McDougall. So we'll keep you updated with the scores there. You can check online at nscurl.com. We've got Mark Dacey and Greg Power, like I mentioned, on our other feature sheet with Dan and John. And sheet B is Mike Fleming taking on Chad Stevens. So if Fleming can win that, it'll drop Stevens down. And if Steven wins, he's going to stay tied for first place.
So Jared Brown here throwing lead stones for the Kendall Thompson rink. Looking just to come down on top of the yellow he placed on the tee line earlier. Phil Crowell, who's lead on Jamie Murphy's team, tried to follow it down, but was a little heavy on his attempt.
You want to introduce the rest of the Thompson team here?
Yeah, might as well while we have the opportunity. So we have Jared Brown, as I said, he's playing lead. Second is Brendan Laval, who's actually here from Ottawa sparring. He used to play with the Kendall Thompson rink, but Jamie Danbrook, who is usually their second, is actually in Finland doing some ice over there. He is an ice maker. So Brendan came up from Ottawa to spare with the boys. And then we have Bryce Everest, and he plays third, and of course Kendall Thompson, who's the skip. And I'll let you introduce the Murphy rink.
Sure thing, as we're on to second stones here. Phil Kroll's the lead. Scott Zachary just delivered this peel. Phil and Scott have curled together for quite a while, joined this Murphy rink a couple years ago, and have 2 titles under their belt as the front end for Team Murphy. Joining new this year, after a long time third, Jordan Pinder moved away, and probably not the favorite day for Jamie Murphy to have his longtime third leave, but he got a nice little pickup there by the name of Paul Fleming. And then, of course, Jamie the skip. So Scott made that peel. Early in this end, we're already seeing an advantage for Team Thompson with a come around on Jared's first. Phil's second rock go deep. And then another come around there from Jared, the peel from Scott, and now just guarding the situation here.
Yeah, So it looks like the rock is a little heavy here, so they're just trying to make sure they don't overlap it too much to set up a double. So just a bit heavy on that one, so not exactly what they were looking for, but it'll do for now.
Yeah, Scott will certainly be able to get all of these rocks moving. There's no question that there's going to be a hit played. Murphy doesn't have hammer, and they don't really want to give up a multiple point score in the first end. The risk is just a jam on the back, and I think whatever way you move these stones, you're probably going to clip that back one and leave 2 yellows in the rings, but we'll see what Scott can do here. So they just got that back stone out.
Yeah,
Leaves 2 though.
it looked like it curled a little bit more than they expected, but I didn't feel that Scott threw as much as I expected either. I kind of thought he was going to throw a little bit more on that one. So a big opportunity here for the Thompson ring to sit 3 with some separation in the house as well.
Yeah, you couldn't have those 2 yellow stones be much further apart, and with a nose hit here, Brendan can leave a third one about as far away from the others as you can, although it looks like he threw this one a little tight, having to sweep it to get it out. Sweep call early. They're calling down weight. If you've been watching some other games with us, going from the outside in, so that's the draw pass, the ice is a bit straighter than it is going inside out. So we've seen teams switch to a down weight, often board, hack, kind of maximum control for anything where you'd like to control the line with sweeping. They're finding that with the hit weight, you can have some bad things happen and not much you can do to fix it. So we're down to third stones here for Team Murphy. You see the broom swap. Paul Fleming likes to throw with the old brownie broom that is illegal to use for a sweeping device, but you can still throw with it. I don't know if he'd get anywhere with it anyway. It's so, it's like a foot wide. I think it's a 12-inch head on that thing.
That's incredible.
Tall man needs a
Tall
big
man
broom,
with a big
I guess.
broom.
So this is, I don't know if they've called it, the doubles are quite thin, but this will just be a hit and roll, trying to get the top yellow out of the rings and roll the shooter to a position that really gets closer to one of those other yellow stones. And they'll achieve that to some extent. Didn't quite get the roll that they would have liked, but it's hard to play that too aggressive. You risk rolling out of the rings and letting Team Thompson sit 3 very even in the house. So at least this keeps the rock at the front of the rings and a chance for a double.
Yeah, I think with this one, they'd be happy with just nosing it or perhaps rolling a little bit towards the center, keeping in mind you don't want to get too close to that back yellow. But I think he has enough room.
The more I watch curling, the more I just think, oh, it's so interesting. Like the way this end has gone was dictated by lead stones. Totally.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Selena.
So there's a nice soft weight. That's just a board hit. You don't need to play anything too crazy if you don't need to roll. So
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's too much curl here, Selena. Actually, it's my first time down here this week. Have you noticed anything yourself while watching the games about the ice, or
yeah,
have you heard anything from the players?
Mostly just, well, the speed's really nice. It starts to slow down at the end of the game, which is to be expected. We play 10 ends regulation, 38 minutes of thinking time. So by the 9th and 10th end, we were finding things were slowing down, but they were only slowing down hog to hog to a 14.6. And if anyone watches regularly, that's still a good draw speed. So things are really more like 15 seconds hog to hog. For draws. We're not going to be able to get times this end because we're seeing a series of hits. But the biggest takeaway, other than the speed, is that there is more curl inside out. So the direction that Paul has just thrown this stone, they're looking for the double, but looks like it might just jam.
Oh, what's going to happen here? Ooh.
And removes the top, but doesn't make a double, actually.
Wow.
The thrown rock and the hit rock actually each touch the side 12s to make them actually as far away as they possibly could be. Very, very good scenario here for Team Thompson, setting up for a 3-under.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost hard to put this in a spot that makes it easy to double. And usually you're trying to not set up a double, right?
Exactly.
So,
how do you sit 3 and
yeah.
not leave a double? But here's your opportunity right here. This just has to be Not too high in the rings and not too deep. Somewhere in the middle will be fine, around that 4-foot area. Won't leave any kind of a double. Sweeper's working hard to make that happen. Kendall's joining in, and there we go. It looks like it's going to rest right on the tee line. So there is no, I say no. Can Jamie throw it hard enough to get
Oh, God, no. There's no way.
his shooter to roll over anywhere close?
No,
it wouldn't be a double, but it would be a
no
roll
way.
closer.
Yeah.
He's going to pick the highest stone that's over on the side, the left of our screen.
I'm eating
Or
my
the right
words here in
now.
a second.
There's a little bit of difference. I mean, if you're going to go for it, it'll be in this fashion, just to try and get a double. Might have a better chance on his second if he can roll the shooter even a little bit closer. But it's going to be a very flat roll.
I mean, the other option, too, is he could maybe hit that back one on the right side and roll over and hope for maybe a jam. But
Exactly.
that's really all I could see, maybe. And even that's getting a little desperate, I think. He's not throwing a ton of weight here.
And not too many teams. Murphy typically has the hammer. Of course, if you didn't know, he's a defending or two-time defending champion of this event. And not too many teams have been getting up big on Murphy. They're an excellent team, and they don't miss a lot. That's why Jamie himself has 3 provincial titles under his belt, if I'm not mistaken. 4. There are 4. 2012, 2014, and then, of course, 2016 and 17. And he's a 2-time New Brunswick provincial junior champion, so no shortage of experience.
I don't think I realized he was from New Brunswick.
Me neither, until I
So we saw that.
looked
Great.
that up online.
So I think Kendall's just looking to nose this one, maybe roll a bit over to the left-hand side. I think I'm
Yeah.
understanding what Jamie was doing now. I think maybe Jamie's thinking, hey, if I hit this rock and leave it here, I might be able to get a better chance at the double on my next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He could have had a little bit of a roll because Kendall, of course, is going to leave this shooter up higher in the ring. So they'll play it safe, nose, and if it's good, they'll try and back it up, which they're doing with sweeping. But this one, I think, is just going to nose. So it will leave Jamie that double. And it's fairly natural.
It's
a little thin.
Yeah, a little thin. But he'll play it. I mean, he just threw it here, right? So he knows
Exactly. And even if he rolls the shooter in front of that yellow, it's good. So it's never an easy 3 in curling.
Not taking much ice on this one.
No, we saw his last one track a bit. Scott working to try and get it to curl, actually. So this is last shot in the first end for Jamie Murphy. We'll see if he can make the double.
Close.
So the double was thin. I think they must have been playing for that roll. Very, very tough. Just rolled over the top. That was not far from being perfect. They actually underswept that a bit. Had to hit a bit thicker to make the roll in front. I thought they were trying the double.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, it was thin. It's hard to tell from up here, though, sometimes as well, right? Maybe it didn't look as good out there, so.
If you're watching and you're curling this event, ladies, tell us what shot you're calling. If you're on sheet C and D. No, I'm kidding. We can usually figure it out. So this is an open hit. Last shot here. Kendall Thompson looking to score 3 in the first of our biggest game yet this week, I'd say. This one's taken off a little bit.
Sweeping. No problem.
Does the
Very
trick.
nice.
So score of 3 to open things up. Kendall Thompson will lead Jamie Murphy. Murphy will have hammer in the second end, though. If you're new to curling, if you score, the other team gets last rock in the next end. And if there's no score, it carries over. How's that? I don't play mixed doubles, but everyone's been watching it lately.
Oh,
Does
gosh.
the hammer switch if no one scores?
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so there is no advantage to blanking in mixed doubles
I don't know
for
if
that
I've
reason.
ever seen anything close to a blank in mixed doubles. There's always lots of rocks in play. And you can't hit until a little ways in, too. Maybe I should try it sometime and learn the rules.
It's actually quite fun.
It looks fun.
It's way harder than it looks. It takes some time to get used to. The strategy's a bit different.
You like sweeping your own rock?
That part's tough to get used to as well. And actually, when mixed doubles first became a thing, I threw with a crutch. So.
Oh. Yeah, what happens to players that use a stabilizer? I guess they'd have to make the switch.
Yeah, and Reed Carruthers, if you ever watch him, he plays
true.
with Joanne Courtney usually. Yep. He just played with Jill Officer in the trials last week. But he uses a crutch, and I've never really seen him play, so I'm not really sure what he does in this situation.
Yeah, it's I started to think about it and trying to think if I ever saw what he does. I'm sure someone knows. You can text us, me or Carly.
Yeah, feel free to text us or tweet out to any of us.
I'm MISS_Miss_CELO on Twitter if you need to get a hold that way. So we saw the first rock go in from Jared Brown, Team Thompson. They won't be needing any guards up 3 until after the first stone, of course. You see Kendall indicate the guard there. Put the first one in, and then the corner guard from Phil Kroll.
Yeah, he's still calling a tight guard on this one, but just to protect the stone that's in the house, he'll be looking to go really tight on this one.
Jared doesn't look like he wants them to sweep it yet for line, but the sweepers will wait. I'm finding more sweepers than ever this week are putting the, I'll call it the push sweeper or the to make it curl sweeper on the inside. Normally you have the opposite sweeper on the inside, the sweeper with the strong push, which is against the curl to try and keep things straight. But because the ice is fairly straight, you'll get that inside sweeper being the one trying to make it curl so that they can have every inch of curl possible. So Phil's trying the freeze here. Sometimes you'll see teams make use of that corner guard right away with their lead, throw up the guard and then come around. In this case, Jamie probably doesn't love the situation with the Yellowstones and sees an opportunity to freeze one in there. So this one's coming up to the forefeit, doesn't get shot, doesn't need to get shot. It's still in a great position.
Yeah. So Kendall's just going to be looking to draw on top of it. If he tries to remove that stone, it's just going to jam right onto his own yellow stone. So he just wants to get onto the inside of this blue stone and hopefully make the angles unfavorable for Murphy.
The peel would be another option here. I find myself tending to favor the peel in situations like this, but
it's really hard though. I mean, you take 3 in the first end, but there's still 9 ends of curling left.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little tap on this one. They're just trying to get it lined up so the angles are a bit better.
Though.
Yeah. Blue is shot now, but we can't imagine that that'll be the situation for the rest of the end.
It's just a little heavy.
Yeah, with a bit less weight, we would have gotten the curl.
Just a hair heavy. I mean, tapping it's not bad, but unfortunately, tapping it to shot rock isn't awesome either.
Jamie has hammer. He still has the corner guard. Sees an opportunity to remove 2 of these yellows. So, of course, the guard that's going to be run back. But there's limited chance it's actually going to clip the blue stone. I don't even know if it's possible to clip the blue stone. So there could be a really nice result from Scott Zachary here.
I really like this call. You know, whatever ends up happening, at least he's probably going to open up the center in one way or another or replace that guard with his own stone, which he can use later.
That one was curling. Good line call and a nice shot. Needs to get this one out. Won't get it all the way, but leaves 2 blue stones out front. And sit shot. So that blue, we can't see the guards. There we go. We see them there. The blue stone nosed, and it stays out front, so another chance to freeze one in here. And Brendan just
pretty
threw
well
this.
just throw the same weight, right? Because even if you tap this one, you'll free it up a bit. This one's really curling. This one almost looks like it picked Selena. It's diving hard.
So Kendall's saying get off it.
Yeah. No, I don't think that overcurled. I really think that picked. Kind of took a funny turn. It didn't run the way the other stones in that spot have.
Weight looked like it was pretty good. Tapped the guard just in.
It's a bad break.
Yeah, it's too bad. And the yellow actually is acting as a corner guard. This is a split call. This is a good call here from Jamie. You want to open up, you are sitting 1, but you'd like to kind of bank points up is how I refer to it on the sides. So you get a few of your stones sitting on the sides of the rings. And if you ever do get access, or when you eventually get access to that button and make the yellow go away, those other ones turn into points. It's like a little piggy bank of points, and if you can unlock it, then you hit the jackpot. So trying to get the curl there.
Really trying to make the curl, yeah.
Be a little heavy. I think it was the right weight to achieve the shot that was called.
Yeah, I definitely, that's exactly the weight that they're looking for. He did signal they wanted back 12, so, I mean, he maybe lost a little weight off the tick, so it might have been a tad heavier, but just didn't quite curl up the way they thought it would. So Kendall's going to have to be careful with this one. I mean, it looks like to me, Selena, that that Murphy is sitting 3rd and 4th in the rings right now.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. The back blue might be out counting that yellow on the side. I think he's shot for sure. Yellow's definitely 2nd and blue is definitely 3rd. No, it might be yellow is 4th.
This one looks like it's got a lot on it. This one is.
So are you familiar with this 3rd, Bryce Everest, at all?
I am. I actually live with him.
Good answer.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm actually the one that's trying to keep calm throughout this whole process.
Maybe we put you on the wrong game, Carly. In full disclosure, most people know the skip, but we're probably terribly biased for one team here. So the 3rd and 4th for Team Thompson are Carly's partner and my brother, respectively. So that was interesting. They were just looking to, I think, freeze another one in. There was a call, ticked the front guard, but now actually kind of guards the situation. And
I mean, if you're gonna miss, that's it's not the worst.
Make the other team at least have to deal with the rock. It's a nice little end being set up from Murphy here, though, so they're just going to try and, I think, open things up a little bit. He's
for sure.
And keep the weight down here.
Yeah. Jamie has to make sure he has something on his last one here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to navigate that port, or you think maybe wick off one of the front guards there and roll in?
Yeah.
That side, the corner yellow? Or play a little tap on the one in the rings, and if you over curl, that's okay too.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a
either
bigger
way,
weight.
whatever. Oh yeah, it's a little bit. I think that's more weight than what was.
Yeah, this is just perhaps a double peel.
Yeah.
Go over the
See
top.
what happens here.
Didn't want to clip the back one. They got away with it.
Oh. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't play more weight than that, or less weight. Sorry.
Yeah, I
mean,
like this. I think it's a good opportunity now that that's opened a bit. Of course, it was open before, but
that's a great call.
get rid of the second counter. You don't want to jam it on your own.
I think that's the worry.
I think that's fairly hard to jam.
I mean, it is a straight spot, but like you were saying earlier, Selena, if you play that down weight, you have a little bit more control over the shot, right? So you can bring your sweepers more into the shot, whether it's curling or you need to get that extra curl. And as you can, if we can go back to that camera view where we can see the front of the house from the thrower's point of view. See if we can get that there.
Sean will do that for us. Here we go.
You can see all of that blue stone. So even if you nose it or hit most of it, you're going to roll it over. You're going to be at least third shot, and you're not going to jam it if that's what you do, right? So I think that, I mean, I understand where Kendall's coming from. He's worried about the jam, and he's thinking, yes, I need to get another yellow in play. But if he plays a draw and it ever hangs out wide, there's an easy double there to get rid of both yellows.
And your shooters, I mean, on this shot, even if you do jam, I think your shooter still sits in a good spot. So Bryce convinced him. And Bryce has to throw it, so he's going to be the one that likes the shot, too.
Well, that's the other thing, too, right? Like, if you're kind of stuck between the two shots, like, sometimes you just defer to the person throwing because, you know, they have that visual on the shot, and they're the ones that need to make the shot. So you might as well, you know,
it's the
break
same
the
thing
tie.
that was happening on the last shot with Jamie and Paul. Paul was the thrower, of course, and just deciding on, you know, what weight he was comfortable with, or Jamie asking, oh, what weight are you going to throw? So let's see this one. They're sweeping for line, trying to get this through the port.
Oh, wow.
So that was way worse than I thought it could have been.
I wish I could get a replay on that one.
Over curled.
Wow.
Run it back onto their own and also jam on their own.
That was a horrible break. I mean, the only reason he jammed was because he clipped the top one, right? I didn't even think that was possible. Ay, ay, ay. A little bit.
Almost better to let that over curl.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Murphy's sitting 2, maybe 3 right now.
Yeah.
And putting another one in there. They don't actually need to deal with that top yellow. It's a little bit of a risk that it jams, apparently. Bad break. Wow.
Yeah. I don't think anyone saw that. That was hard to do. It was not easy. Oh, Phil has his hands up.
I don't know if they're looking at that top yellow and thinking it's dangerous. I mean, sit 4, pretty good.
Oh, I love this draw. I think you leave that yellow there. You know, like you said, Selena, you're kind of playing with fire, right? And you can almost just make the shot for Kendall before he even throws.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think this is the safe call, and, you know, playing what's in the rings. He's playing
starting to curl now. They have to wait for it. This is more of what we've seen when you're asking about ice conditions. It'll hang on that center line, and then once it starts to cross, it sure starts to go. We got more curl in that than we've seen anywhere else yet today. So this is a freeze to cut things down. Paul was deep there. I don't know if I quite say that it's letting Team Thompson off the hook because they're still looking good for a couple here.
Yeah, no. I mean, if Kendall can make a good one here, I mean, I think they'll be happy just to get out of this end giving up 2.
Absolutely.
This is the call. I mean, you play the run back and you miss it. Now you're looking at giving up 4 or 5, right? So.
Oh yeah, the run back's not an option.
No.
And you might be out counting. The yellow might be out counting the back blue.
Yeah.
So blue might only be sitting 3 right now. In any case, this is to cut down the scoring ability. Needs to have good weight here, though. They have to wait for the curl. Once it starts to go, they can sweep it like crazy.
Weight's looking pretty close right now.
It is. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It has to be in front of that blue stone. They just don't want to bounce off. And that's, I call that pretty good.
Can't make that any better.
It's a little bit of a save there for Team Thompson after a disaster.
It's almost kind of been the story this week. If any of you have been watching any of the few of the Thompson games, at least that I've seen, Kendall's just been playing absolutely fantastic. Making a lot of crucial shots, I should say.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yep.
There was another freeze like that last night playing Mark Dacey, and Dacey looking like they could get a few, and I don't know, just freeze to one of your stones and take the whole end away. Jamie's trying to unlock this. I've seen him play this quite a few times in different games. He's definitely an aggressive player, not scared of rocks in play. Neither of these teams are really. And so he's just going to tap this back yellow into the blue and try and unlock it. Maybe get the yellow into the open. Not an easy shot, though. You can't see. You can't see the whole yellow.
What kind of weight do you expect on this one, Selena?
I think he's probably going to play like a back line, maybe hack. He might lose one of. I don't think he'd play hack because you'd lose one of the blues, but maybe a back line weight. So this one will get the curl sooner because it started across that
curling
center line.
Already quite a bit. Oh, on off quite a bit.
Looks like hack weight to me. Just how things are going here. This will effectively make a freeze as well. Yeah, that was more weight. So they're trying to set up the 3. If Kendall doesn't make a good one here, there will be a shot for 3 or 4, really depending on where Kendall Stone goes, but I can't imagine he'll...
I think Kendall will play, I would imagine, a similar shot to what he just played. I mean, I don't really see anything else other than perhaps drawing down to the one that's in the 4 foot.
Like hitting the open rock on the right doesn't do anything. It still gives up a 3. You play the freeze and you miss it, it's an open hit for 4. So that's the risk.
So they're playing the freeze on the top 4. So those are 2 options. I mean, he's definitely playing some sort of freeze. It's just a matter of which rock are you going to choose, right?
Yeah. The risk in this is if you're heavy and roll off, or light and you don't quite get to the rings. There is a definite shot for 4 for Team Murphy.
Oh, you got to be very careful with this one for sure.
But that being said, if it's anywhere in scoring area, so within the 8 foot, Jamie likely won't have a shot to get the 3 or 4 because they will only be able to manage one of the yellows. We'll have a hard time bringing that side one into play. Sweeper's going fairly early. I don't know if it's for line there.
I mean, line's important, but weight is even more important on this one.
Weight is critical here, and they're related. Weight and line, of course. The lighter it is, the more it'll curl. So I think they got second shot out of that.
Ooh, it's close, that's for sure. Taking a look at it.
I think if Jamie tries to pick it, it's fairly risky. Paul's taking a look. Really wanted to get second shot out of that.
It's good sweeping there at the end by the boys.
I don't know if whether it's second or not would dictate Jamie's shot. If yellow is second shot and Jamie takes a stab at it, it could jam on the shot stone if he hits it too thick, and certainly would jam on that back stone. It's hard to punch it through the hole.
So Jamie's just kind of checking out the house, seeing what he can play here to score multiples.
There is a nose on the top yellow. That would be for only 2, though. And a draw would also be for 2. It does look to me like it's yellow, but I'm usually wrong on these.
I don't think there's. Oh, looks like
I think this is just the draw for 2.
Yeah, it does definitely look like yellow from this angle. I mean, I guess we'll find out whether or not they measure if he successfully makes this, or if he doesn't, they'll still measure. So
Phil and Scott sweeping here. Jamie Murphy's last rock in the second end. Down 3, but looks like a chance for 2. We might have a measure for 3. Phil and Scott managing the stone. Sweepers the front end for Team Murphy. They would have watched Kendall's last stone go down. They're always checking and watching the other teams. The weight looks okay. They were sweeping to keep it out there, and looks like a well-managed stone. Right to the back of the 4 foot.
So it's 2 for sure. Thirds here will take a look to determine who they think is sitting third shot.
We might see a measure come out on it. See if both Carly and I think it's yellow, but might need a measure to tell. It is so hard to tell from these cameras, though. We're looking at an angle at the blue one, I think, a little more than...
Speaking of measurements, I heard that in the Chad Stevens Kendall Thompson game that there is a rock that was so close they couldn't measure, and they had to bring in 2 separate officials to give 2 separate independent opinions, and that's how they decide who was shot rock.
Yep, that is exactly what happened. It took
hilarious.
7 or 8 minutes. I hope they've actually asked for the measure. They're not just going to keep staring at it. Yeah, there we go. So the official brings the measure out, and they'll tell the truth. They don't have a choice. Measuring tool doesn't discriminate rocks. It just knows which one's closer. So 2 for sure for blue. And if you're just tuning in, we do have a measure here in the second end. Murphy versus Kendall Thompson. Kendall took a big 3 in the first. And this is a measure for the third
Whoa.
point.
Jeez.
Murphy's yellow. Or sorry, Murphy's blue.
Did she say it's yellow? It was yellow.
It's
we
yellow.
were right. Okay.
Good job. High five.
Yes. We can still see. We're not losing our eyesight too bad yet. Got my glasses
You
on
brought
now.
your glasses.
Yeah.
All right, so score of 2. Really good rebound from giving up the 3. Team Thompson has hammer, playing 3. Up a single. Phil Kroll will lead us off here at the 2018 Deloitte Tankard. Thanks for joining us here on Bell 5 TV1. We hope you're enjoying the live webcasts that we have been providing and will continue to provide all through the finals, including the round robin tomorrow, which will finish us off and set up the playoff scenarios. Top 3 teams move on. Top team does get a berth to the final on Sunday at 9 a.m. And the other teams will play off second versus third at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Those are all Atlantic times. So if you're watching from, I know we have a number of people watching from Alberta. I had a few commenting this morning that they were watching from there, and I think Bryce's parents are in Alberta. The Murphy contingent seems to all be an Atlantic Canada affair, if everyone is local. I saw Phil's wife out last night and Scott's fiance out last night. I saw Jamie's wife and their 2 kids earlier today. I'm pretty sure I saw Paul's girlfriend here.
Yeah, it's really great. You know, everyone comes out and supports, and whether they can physically be here or they can watch it online, I'm sure a lot of people are thankful for that.
He doesn't really know he's on the TV sometimes. He just let that stone of Jared's sweepers new out of his hand. It was heavy.
He's also leaving it in a hack.
Just let it sit there, just as a reminder that you were a little heavy there,
there we
but
go. Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure
Kendall.
Jared will try and fix that on the second one.
He didn't mean to do it.
There, we got it pushed aside now. Back in it. So second guard going up from Phil Kroll. It's kind of nice. So if you team Murphy, you're happy when the other team misses, and that stone going through the rings. I think if it were in the rings, we might have seen a come around, but Phil actually has the chance to put up the second guard. So again, much like in the first end, things are being dictated by lead stones here.
Absolutely. And of course with
This one's over curling already.
I think it's just light. I think he just overcompensated for his first one.
Is really light.
That is a triple guard. That is not the outcome they wanted. So opportunity here for Scott Zachary to really sink one in here.
Usually it takes a couple stones to remove a triple guard situation like that, unless you make it perfect, but it's going to take a couple rocks. So I think we'll see Bale City here from the Thompson rink. Let's see how Scott can make this shot. This is their likely steal point if they're going to steal. So we're noticing a little bit of at least Jared's stone kind of took off there. We're getting a little more curl inside this 4-foot area. There is a straight path, a little wider in the 8-foot area. See, this one's starting to finish really nicely.
This one does look a hair heavy. So I would imagine we'll see Kendall draw. I mean, he doesn't look too pleased with the guard situation.
No.
But, I mean,
it's difficult. You see that rock slip to the back button, and it's very, very tempting to go around. I just think those stones are set up pretty well to get them all going. You hit it on the center line side, kind of where Bryce's broom is.
yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, like you were saying, Selena, it'll take a couple rocks to get rid of those guards. So you may want to bail earlier than later.
Yeah, we're on second stones and the first of second stones.
Yeah.
It's a good chance to bail.
I
That's
think
my
that's a smart call,
humble
yeah.
opinion. I think Kendall,
It's
he's
very
playing aggressive to go in.
It's extremely tempting to play the draw, but given that it slipped behind the tee line. But then, I mean, you're just cutting down your scoring area by that much more. So
Yeah, I think this is good sense prevailing with the 3/4 of the team wanting to clean things up a little bit. I'm sure Jared would be the first to say that he likes to clean things up because
whoa, he's tight on that
tight.
one. Yeah.
So they just peel their own. So Murphy's going to put a second one in.
He needed a little pop action on that rock. Didn't quite set it, just kind of let go of it. And
yeah, and as much as I'm saying the ice is fairly straight, these rocks are sharp and they will curl given given the opportunity, aka a little bit of a soft release.
See a Boston Bruins fan in the background there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Surprised that's not Don McIntosh back there. Huge Bruins fan if he's listening. Go Bruins, grow.
So Scott's trying to throw this one a little lighter. Supers can carry it better, but it looks to be heavy again and might get a little bounce there. They really are working to get that thrown stone further back and not leave a pocket. They do leave a pocket.
That was a pretty big miss, to be honest. I mean, like you said, Selena, there's this nice pocket
a guard
here
was
now.
okay there, definitely.
Scott's not going to be happy with that one.
It's Jamie's turn to look like the frustrated skip in the back.
Trading sour faces.
This is still aggressive. You can still peel. There is a pocket, though, so I get it. I get the come around. And if this is anywhere in front of those blue stones, that'll be
this is not
okay,
curling yet.
but it looks heavy. So now they're playing to keep it straight to not go through the hole. Oh, yeah, that one's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
It's shot, but not for long, I'm guessing.
Way too much weight on that.
You can't nose it. It would jam.
Seems like these guys are that's a few heavy shots we've seen here. Maybe the ice is running a little bit faster tonight than it has been.
Yeah, it might be. And I said yellow shot. I'm not even quite sure. There's a really good chance. I don't think you have to hit the yellow. You just freeze another one in there. The yellow will likely be used later if no one removes it first as an in-off.
Yeah, no, I like this call. I think especially given the fact that your blue rock is behind the tee line right now, you want to get something in front of the tee line and make it difficult to remove those stones. A lot of teams would hit that yellow stone, though, as well, because that could potentially be a counter for Kendall Thompson later in the end.
This weight looks better. Still coming to the tee line, though. That's Paul Fleming.
That was a good shot. But, yeah, definitely it got to the tee pretty well on its own there, that's for sure.
I just took a look at when I was getting the player bios for everybody. I was asking Team Murphy, is there anything you'd like to say? We asked, their age and how long they've curled and what they do. And Paul says, he said, I'm 43. And I was kind of looked at him. I was like, oh, really?
43?
And they joked. He's 49. So then I said, oh, you're senior age. He goes, senior eligible. He's still fully intent on playing men's. Asked how long he's curled. He said lots.
He doesn't know how many
He's
years.
a two-time.
That's fine.
I think he probably knows, but he.
Try to be smart.
I was going to say he's a business owner. He's owned Harbor Fish and Fries, which is in Musquodoboit Harbor, for 21 years, which I did not know that was that long. Two-time mixed national champ, 6-time Brier participant. So when we talk about experience, this team has it.
Loves Nintendo.
I did see a picture of him with his family playing video games, so I don't think he's lying.
Ping pong, baseball, shuffleboard, and coaches a bunch of kids. Son Jake on Team Abraham and juniors. I wouldn't necessarily say they're kids. They're a very tall adolescent boy.
Absolutely.
Nearing the end of adolescence. So it looks like they've elected to play the draw here on Bryce's shot. Bryce's first one here in the third end. definitely don't want to bounce off of this. Just like to sit on top. Small bounce, so something it looks like Jamie would be able to hit that if he'd want it. I think just nosing it, and he should be able to at least get it through the hole, if not catch the other yellow one on the way by.
Yeah, we'll see that yellow bounce around a little bit.
If he can make a
as
really
much as
good one
rocks
here.
can bounce.
Yeah. A really good shot here from Paul could really put the Thompson rink into some trouble here on this one.
So it looks like they're choosing a softer weight, just with where the broom is. More of a control weight. Although this spot we've seen some curl. Really just seemed to back up a little bit there.
This is not curling at all.
Like it to come up close to nose. So the yellow remains shot, but there's 3, and especially that thrown rock, that blue right at the front of the forefoot is, it's in the danger zone, I guess I'll say for Team Thompson, who's up.
It's kind of interesting. They had Scott sweeping that rock quite early, and
yeah, to keep it straight. I think they expected it to jump, and I almost saw, I don't know if you caught it on the camera, I'm just watching through the glass. It almost looked like he really did. It kind of jumped backwards, so it seems to be pretty touchy, just to make things more fun.
I was asked earlier this week from Bryce, wondering if they could, if the viewers at home could hear what they were saying on the ice. He was a little worried, it seemed. He wasn't quite sure.
Oh, worried that people might be hearing what they're saying.
Yeah. Oh, this is way out there.
Might have a piece of the blue. So yellows went spilling, and the shot yellow is wide open.
Oh boy.
Not the intended shot. Would have liked to catch a little more of that blue and actually hit the others.
It's just so weight sensitive. Like.
Yeah. Well, the thing for Jamie here, he's gonna hit this stone. Can't hit it too thin on the broom side, or it'll jam on his own blue. But I think that yellow's gone with any kind of weight, no matter where you hit it. The key thing is where his shooter goes.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you that, Selena. Do you think that, I mean, from this angle, it looks like rolling towards the inside is probably your best option. Otherwise, you're going to leave at least some sort of draw for Kendall.
Yeah, or just peel it straight out.
Exactly.
You might lose one of your blues, but you're leaving a difficult draw.
I think just nosing it right where it is may give Kendall a note for this end.
Might be a worst case Ontario.
Yeah.
If anyone else watches Trailer Park Boys. Sorry. So this is a soft weight. They are trying to roll away. This one is really coming up. Might have left double right, or hit and roll right into a nice little pocket. That's
anywhere on the outside.
I kind of joked about being worst case, but that's
seriously though, right? Like, and I mean, of course, you know, Jamie's been curling for a very long time, and he's a very accomplished curler, and he knows that's not where he should have left it. He's expressing some anger here.
They had a soft weight one on Paul's second. They overswept, and so they were waiting on that one, and then it caught them and actually jumped. So I think that's more evidence that that's a touchy spot in the ice.
Oh, definitely,
and, a little unpredictable.
Yep.
So both teams have to deal with it now, as Kendall's going to go throw in the same path.
It'll be interesting
Probably with more weight.
Yeah.
It's a much tighter broom. I suspect he's throwing the intern here.
Yeah.
With a lot of weight, he can hit anywhere on the inside of that and be pretty safe, I think.
Yeah, anywhere on the inside, and his yellow shooter will roll right into those blue stones there on the left-hand side.
It's a lot of blue, but all that matters is which one's closest, and good chance to make that be yellow in color.
first stone here for Kendall Thompson in the third end.
I think he's got the inside, looking for the roll. And there it is, right into that pocket.
Oh,
so
it's perfect.
Jamie,
Perfect.
you guys can't see on the camera, Jamie was, normally the skip's right there and behind, ready to go for it. Kendall did release, and I wondered if that would happen, this blue stone on the side. It's a tough make. It's a slash, just a little chip into the yellow would do it and leave a draw. I just don't know where to put the broom. I think this is the only way to defend here. You can't really get shot without leaving a hit.
I mean, the other option is you might be able to corner freeze that top yellow, maybe get shot out of that. But
yeah, or even if not get shot, limit the scoring to a single. Yeah. Yellow is shot right now.
I'd be tempted to play the draw, to be honest. I think, you know, this hit, like you said, it's hard to say where to put the broom. It's very thin. It almost doesn't. Maybe he's there. I mean, I think that definitely if anyone's going to make it, Jamie's the one.
Yeah. You have to hit it so thin to go sideways, and then does it have enough momentum to actually move the yellow you see there?
Yeah, I personally like the draw. I think, you know, you draw, you have potential to get shot rock, but even if you don't, you're making that draw on Kendall's last one that much harder. And, you know, you give Kendall one in this end, and then you have hammer going into four. And
yeah, if you ever
that's a happy
miss the chip onto the yellow and you give him a better draw to the 4 for 2, you really need to limit him to a single here.
You know, I understand that Jamie's probably a little frustrated that he missed that last shot and he wants to make that yellow go away, but I think you got to look at the scoreboard, think about the end that you're in, and, you know, what really do you want to be the outcome of this end? And I think giving up 2 would be a lot worse than giving up 1. So
I think most people here would agree with you. We got lots of people downstairs watching. We're here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. You know you're comfy at home or wherever you are watching on Bell 5 TV1, but we are at the Dartmouth Curling Club. It's on Canal Street, downtown Dartmouth. Lots of parking. And you can get in for $5. You can watch 4 games at once. We haven't even been keeping you updated on the other scores because our sheet's been quite interesting. We'll try and do that at the break after this end. So Murphy throwing the draw. Light's okay here. He's going to block the draw path.
I think that's why he actually ended up calling Selena. I don't think he's trying to go on top of that yellow. I think he's just trying to block off the draw in any way, shape, or possible with this one.
Yeah, so that's a really good shot. Well made.
Yeah, he's going to be happy with that. So, I mean, a little bit of a tricky draw here. I even almost think that Kendall can maybe play it tight onto hit the inside of that blue one that's just on the left-hand side and potentially roll in, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough movement to do that. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
The risk is fairly low.
I think
not
it's
really
pretty
a
low,
chance of, obviously, if Jamie didn't want to play the tough chip, then I think
you
any kind of hit onto it's not there.
Back line at most, Selena, and you just roll in. It looks pretty enticing from this angle.
Yeah, I don't think Kendall wants to play the draw. He's looking at, the wide draw, the wide intern draw. They're looking to come in between those 2 blue stones. Now there's
tough.
I don't know. Does that look like a hole? I don't know if there is.
There.
But they're looking at playing with the weight. And this is a spot that has shown some curl. You're looking at it now. Like there's not a port
Jared's bringing it
without curling around. There we got. That's why it's a team sport.
Yeah.
Your other players will let you know what your other potentials are. I just don't know that you can get second shot playing that in off.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, from this angle, it looks like if you try to hit and roll in, you'll go over the top of the yellow
and not be
push
shot.
the blue one back a bit, and then your yellow one will be full 4. I think you would be shot, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It might spin up. There's, and now we're going. They've switched it again. This was kind of the obvious call that we said that the difficult draw, but maybe a little more likely to make than through that non-port.
I don't know, Selena. It does not curl much here. This is a tough shot.
And this is wider out than anyone has thrown, except, of course, Jamie just threw a little tighter path than this.
He's going to have to throw a trick shot on this one. He's going to have to try to make the rock curl, I think. It's just so straight here.
Well, it's a guaranteed single point for Kendall Thompson, up 1. So with this, he'll lead by 2 or a very difficult draw for the second point.
So Sweeper's just watching it right now. just waiting for it to grab that curl. It's trying a bit now.
And Kendall probably gave it a bit extra. It's the ice hasn't been warmed up out wide there, and gave a bit extra speed on it, so that'll sail through, but it will be a single. So a 4-2 lead for Kendall Thompson over Jamie Murphy. So the force achieved. We talked a little bit about Jamie not wanting to play the chip, and so he achieved the force this way. And I said we'd give you an update on the other sheets. Stuart Thompson playing Brent McDougall. Stuart leads 4-1. Mark Dacey, Greg Power. Dacey leads 4-1. And Mike Fleming, Chad Stevens. Stevens leads 2-1. And those teams are all playing the fourth end. And we are also in the fourth end. Jared Murphy starting us off again. Sorry, Jared Brown. This team, Thompson, plays out of the Mayflower Curling Club. Murphy out of the Halifax Curling Club. That one will stop in the top 4 foot. Down 2 points. Similar to the second end when Murphy was down 3. We're seeing Phil Kroll throw the corner guard, so they're going to try and generate a couple points this way. So sweepers knew that one was light. They started sweeping fairly early, and you don't want your guards too tight with not a ton of curl. You need to have your guards be fairly high to come around, but you don't want them so deep that you can't do it. So they're just working to get that into like a halfway guard position. And now the center guard coming from Jared. Although sweepers aren't too close to it, so I suspect it might be a little heavy. I don't mind it as much now. I never like to see sweepers back off of a rock that is a guard or a draw. Oh, and that one's A-okay. No problem.
Perfect.
Spoke too soon. So again, this is the exact same setup as the second end. Rock goes into the 4 foot, corner guard from Murphy, and then a guard, and then the freeze attempt from Phil Kroll. Phil's 39. He's curled for 23 years. He's a system analyst, senior system analyst. He knows way more about computers than I do. And he's represented Nova Scotia at the Brier 3 times, 2010, 2016, and 2017. Of course, it's going to be the same for 3 of these 4 players representing the past 2 years for Nova Scotia.
And in 2010, Phil did play with Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc, who is now living in Milton, Ontario.
Oh, Milton. I didn't know it was Milton. I just knew Ontario.
So if Ian's listening, there's your shout out.
For more detail. I know where Ian works too. He sells title insurance. I only know that because it's work related.
Fair.
So another freeze here. Sweepers working end to end on that one. And Bryce has been sweeping a few stones now. A little pat on the back from Jared. They get that one into a good top 12-foot position. It's really funny. I was explaining curling to, we'll call them curling novices, one of my colleagues and actually a client of mine who said they'd come out and help out and ask the questions for the broadcast. And they were asking really interesting questions, just things that you don't know that people are unaware of when they have never watched curling. And I was explaining the rings. I said, well, they're 12 feet wide. the widest one is called the 12-foot.
Oh, that's fabulous. I love it.
It's a good shot there. And the white one is 8 feet wide, and it's called the 8 foot. I said, can you guess how big or what we call the 4 foot wide red one? No, the 4 foot. Anyway, I got a kick out of it.
That's funny.
And then I started realizing there's a lot more literal terms. It's like the weight choices are all, back line or T line or hack. It's all very literal. A hit and roll is just that, hitting and rolling over.
I remember when Kendall first started dating his partner, she would come out and watch some of the games, and she called the house a home.
Yep.
And the hack a launch pad.
It really does
it works, right? Yeah. So, I mean, to each their own. So, I mean, it kind of stuck. I mean, I remembered, so. And I commonly use those terms here and there now,
So it gets just an unfortunate miss there from Brendan, playing a soft weight into the house and over curled and catches the guard. Of course, they don't have hammer, so Team Thompson's okay with those rocks out front. Wouldn't be super happy that one is removed now. But the shooter did spill into the rings, which is beneficial because it brings the force into play. But Murphy still has that corner guard and realizes that it's a nice opportunity to not sit shot, but to sit 2 and 3 and maybe get those points generated here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, a lot of teams would use that corner guard maybe a little sooner or wait a little bit later. But I do like watching Jamie and his patience with waiting for the right time to go around the corner guard. He's not too quick to do it, and he kind of thinks of, a few shots ahead and how the end's setting up.
Well, in this case especially, realizing that yellow rock on the side there is probably going to force him into a single, he'd rather be forced into 2 points. Sweepers really wanted to. They did need to get that out counting the Yellowstone.
And they just got it there.
Did. So we'll call it a good shot at the end of the day. Sweepers worked hard to make that a team shot. I'm just thinking, too.
I don't think Kendall can see much of that, if any.
No, he was calling a play on it. But
it still is. I mean, perhaps his thoughts are, the guard is a little long, and you were mentioning earlier that we are seeing a little bit more curl towards the wings. And from this view, it does look like you can see probably about a quarter of it, I would say.
A little piece.
Yeah.
I think it's not the end of the world if you wreck on the guard, because the blues will be grouped well enough that a double will likely be available.
Well, that's the thing, right? And if with the weight that Bryce is going to be throwing on this one, if he wrecks on the guard, he's going to roll towards the center and make his own guard to guard the situation in front. So I think this is a good call.
They're waiting for this one to curl. Doesn't look like it's taking a huge jump, but nice even curl. And they will, and they'll get a nice roll. Don't want it to go past the blue. Corner freezes. We'd love that to curl maybe 2 inches less, the roll, but I'll say it's not bad there. There's 3 yellow stones to think about.
I think it's pretty good, It does leave this little blue split for Jamie, but Jamie is going to, I don't think he can hit that yellow and grab the other yellow in the house.
No, I think it always catches the blue. The blue probably won't be out of the rings if you do that, though. It's so thin.
Right.
I kind of liked his first call.
I really liked his first call, yeah.
It's going to take actually a couple to remove both yellows. So I really did like that first call of getting rid of one of them. You might leave a double. That's the risk, and Jamie's well aware of that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing Jamie's thinking about, too, on this one is he should be able to outcount that top yellow with this draw.
True.
As long as it's anywhere in the 8 foot.
So they'll have to wait for the curl. But this has been a pretty nice, reliable path. We saw Bryce's come down nicely here. And Scott's last shot, just a little light, didn't get that final curl. But I think Paul should be able to get a good one out of this. So you see the nice curl at the end. And they don't want this one to go into the back 12. So it's not out counting that other yellow.
Kendall almost didn't make it there to sweep that one. I think it's a little crucial that we make sure that that's not third shot.
If you don't know, you are allowed to sweep your opponent's stones once they do make it to that T line, that red line that's going across the screen left to right. Not before, and you can only sweep 1 stone at any given time behind that tee line of your opponents. And 1 sweeper from your team behind that tee line as well. So really 1 stone. Each team can only sweep 1 stone total, not just your opponents, but yours as well. You have to be careful with that. Sometimes you get excited and
for sure.
start sweeping 2 stones, and you hope that you didn't screw things up. So with that draw coming just a couple inches too deep, here's the center guard call. Trying to lock things up. They'd like this to curl and try and get to the center line. It's tough. It's a tough position to be in. You want to cross it and try and prevent that little hit on the blue. I think it's still there, but it might be so thin that your shooter gets lost or your shooter jams on the back. Paul's demonstrating for us.
It's not often you're trying to guard your opponent's stone. Because in this scenario, that yellow one's not really hurting them, right? Like, oh, wow. What's he doing?
I don't know.
Hilarious.
Paul's one of the most charismatic people I think that most of us have ever met.
Oh, it's awesome.
Must be pretty fun to play with. Usually, I don't know.
Jamie's probably like, where did I find this guy?
What did I sign up for? I don't know. He's been in the Brier 6 times and he's won mixed nationals twice, so I think he's a good one. Good pickup. And Paul was on the runner-up team 2 years ago with Chad Stevens throwing 4 stones. So even within Nova Scotia, so much experience. He's always in the running if he's on a team. He's a great addition.
All right, so what have they elected to play here?
I think that little chip shot on the blue stone.
It's the shot you wanted them to play. There you go.
I think it's still there. You might lose your shooter. And
oh, you look like
this
flung
is
it a bit.
upweight.
You're sweeping it though.
Brendan's got lost here and chipped the guard. Did they get this by? Oh, just. So shooter's gone, like I said, but sitting 2-3, and now that yellow stone is. I'll say it's vulnerable, but where you have to hit it, it goes straight into the blue. So
how come he threw so much weight on that? I was not expecting that at all.
Not sure. Sweepers were able to hold that, but the thing is, they hit it so thick. They wanted to hit that thinner, that the blue kind of sprung open. Yeah, if they'd hit it more at an angle, they knew they were losing the shooter anyway. You would have chipped the blue into the side of the yellow more instead of into the top. So chipped it onto the top and it rolled off, and so now it's open. And now if Kendall hits it thin, he may jam on the back blue. Paul's went over the top. Kendall doesn't need to stick his shooter here, because I think any way that Jamie hits the open yellow, or the partially open yellow, it could run into the back blue. It's kind of hurting Team Murphy at this point. Anyway, we're on to skip stones. Kendall Thompson here, trying to remove the blue Murphy shot stone. This is more of a down weight. And we are seeing some movement here. This team got caught earlier in this spot. How does it look coming down there? Has it got a piece of it, Carly? Oh, it does.
It's going to roll over the top, though. And
well,
he
rolled
sits
it out
in time, though, to sit third shot.
Yeah, first and third. So I think Jamie, with 2 shots remaining, and not a great chance at removing that yellow.
And the other thing is, too, I mean,
he's gonna go for it, isn't he?
Yellow shot rock, I think you have to right now.
Well, he could draw as well, that out turn.
Yep.
Just play the draw and really sink things. If you play the out turn, which is from the right side of your screen to the left into the 4-foot area.
You have to make that perfect, though.
Yeah, I think you have to make this one pretty well also. This is his real chance if he gets a miss out of Kendall on the next to score multiples, though.
Yeah, I think this is the right call.
It's tough.
Jamie
So
Murphy
first.
with his first, yeah. Looks like he's throwing about board weight.
Now Phil's there to get it to curl. They know they're by the guard. They're going to try and get it as thick on this yellow as they possibly can. And they They need the yellow to be outcounted by the other blue, which I think he was successful at.
I don't know. It is
It's hard to tell, though. We've got fans up here that says they think it's yellow and some that think it's blue. I think Kendall would be making some sort of play on the blue if it was shot, so it might still be yellow. It's really hard to tell. Oh, in our camera view here, it looks like yellow, doesn't it, Carly?
Yeah, and I'm actually just standing up looking down on the ice surface right now, and from this angle, it does look like it's yellow. I mean, they are taking a second look at it.
So so Kendall's going to play the draw here.
It does look like yellow has it by probably a good few centimeters, yeah.
If it were blue, would you make a play on it? I think you might, but you risk removing your own yellow, and that blue at the side is out counting. So maybe you have to play the draw anyway.
Oh, I love this call.
Yeah,
I think
this is great. The viewers, so some viewers think it's blue.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So our same view on the big TV here at the club actually looks like blue, but the same thing we have on our screen
just
looks,
to say,
looks like yellow.
He's throwing the intern here. Even if he shows Jamie half of this rock, Jamie has to play something similar on his next one.
Exactly, yeah.
It has jam written all over it, right? So this is a smart call by Kendall.
This just needs to be top house. They can leave it maybe biting the top 4 foot. Doesn't need to be too close to that tee line, but it's hanging. Jamie got curl out of his, but this one seems to be just tracking because it's heavy.
Just marginally, not by much.
So now they're trying to get the it buried. If Jamie's second shot, he might play a little soft weight tap on that yellow. If they think it's, if they think yellow's first and second, then it's just a draw.
What the?
I don't know if they're looking at a hit.
Yeah. That's.
If you can make some sort of a double, but that's not, no.
No.
You'd go into the side of the yellow and probably give up a point.
I don't really see any risk, Selena, throwing back 12 back line.
Oh, exactly.
It's just the only thing is, basically the entire rock is buried, and we do know it hangs here with weight.
So your point is if you try and throw the extra weight, you might miss the stone entirely?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And there's not a ton of room to roll, but with a soft weight, you tend not to roll quite as far. You can hit the rock thinner.
And it's really unfortunate, to be honest, that it is running this straight right now, because I feel like, on any other given day, especially with these stones, you typically do get a bit more curl.
It's interesting to hear that comment, because players are saying that they think the ice is good, the speed's great on the ice, and it might just be the stones, too, that are a little straight and not necessarily the ice. This just looks like the cold draw to me. It is still hanging a bit, though. Jared's going to work hard, or Bryce, sorry, I can't even tell who it is. They all look the same. That's Bryce.
Yeah, it's Bryce.
He's working hard. Yeah. But the shot's made for the single, so well done from Jamie Murphy to get his single point. Facing what we're going to call 2. They never had to measure it. And he'll still trail 4-3, but certainly an interesting end. Now, how are we for time? Both teams a little bit short on time.
Yeah, so as you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but 38 minutes of thinking time. So typically before, we're getting into the fifth end here, and for time-wise, Jamie Murphy's team has 19 minutes and 28 seconds, and Kendall Thompson's team has 20 minutes and 49 seconds. And that's, pretty close to half your time, right? So.
But they're not halfway through the game yet.
They're not halfway through the game yet. They still got one more end to go. And usually, towards the end of the game and things are getting a little, tight and they're taking a little bit more time to think about the shots that they're going to call. Sometimes you need that extra time. But the benefit of thinking time as well is it's quite easy to make up time lost. Before thinking time became a thing, teams used to get however many minutes, I don't remember. Something in the 70s. Yeah, exactly. And if you ever got behind on the scoreboard and you were playing a draw game, you're being penalized for those draws that you're playing, because those are going to take 25 seconds altogether to get down to the other end, whereas the other team's playing peel because they're ahead, and it only takes them 8 seconds, 9
and
seconds.
The
yeah.
team peeling actually banks the time.
Yeah, banks tons of time.
With
So
thinking time, you just if you need to bank some time, it certainly makes it easier if you're playing those hits because there's less thinking required. But you can make a concerted effort to throw your shots or make your decisions a little faster.
Thinking time is, I don't know about you, what your thoughts are, but probably one of my favorite rules that's come into play.
Oh, I love it. That and the free guard zone.
I think it's fabulous. Just love having thinking time. It makes you feel better as a player. You don't feel stressed. You used to see teams that would essentially just throw away at least 1 or 2 ends. And by throw away, I mean just, play a clean open end, essentially just to save time.
Which makes it not as interesting a game. And we haven't had one of those ends yet here, which is why the teams are a little short on time.
Yeah, I mean, you sometimes see teams still playing open ends in the first or second end, but, these guys are getting 9 minutes of practice before the game even starts. And usually by that time, they're all so comfortable with the ice that we're seeing these teams being very aggressive right from the start.
That's worth about an end and a half of regular play. You can get to throw quite a few rocks in 9 minutes, and if you don't want to, you don't need to, but they get a good feel for the ice. Teams tend to play more from the wings to the button just because they're also practicing their pregame draw to the button. So if there's any shot that they might be a little less comfortable with after the practice, it would be going to the wings.
So I'm really working on this one to, they want to get this one at least top 8 foot.
I'd like to get in the rings at all. Can they do it? Looks like it is done. Oh, might just be nibbling.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit of white, but it might just be nibbling. It's hard to tell. Kendall's a little red face. He had to sweep for 8 feet. And I'm allowed to make fun of that because I'm a skip as well. And
Kendall has recently taken up, well, I shouldn't say taken up, but he's been playing house league soccer in order to improve his cardio.
Is that why?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that's why he was playing soccer.
Well, that and he likes soccer too. But
yeah,
reaps the benefits.
But he was a keeper before in soccer when he was younger. You don't have to run around.
Tell us more.
Keeper. That's funny.
All the secrets of Kendall Thompson.
Here, I'll read what's in his bio.
Okay, what did he say?
He's 27. I don't know how long he's curled. Probably since he was about 6 years old. So I don't know. That's 20 years or so. He is a financial analyst. I said, "Is that right?" He said, "It's not wrong. It's as good as it gets." And he is the 2011 Nova Scotia Provincial Junior Champion.
I love this part. Brother Stuart played lead.
His brother played lead. His brother is now skipping on the sheet beside him. And is trying to get a few points there against Brent McDougall. Looks successful for a 2 or a 3 spot.
Oh. So a bit of a jam on that one. A little unfortunate break there for Brendan. Looked like it was going to be a good one. See Jamie notioning that rock is biting.
We're like 2 for 2 on judgments. Actually, maybe 3 for 3 because I think that it was
really
the Thompson stone that was shot in the last end too, or second shot. So another guard here for the Murphy team. And I can confirm it was 2 points for Team Stuart Thompson against Brent McDougall, so they'll lead 6-2 at the 5th end break. It's a 5-minute break after the 5th. It's halfway through the game, 10 ends.
Our other 2 games that are on right now on sheet B, we have Fleming and Steven. Oh,
his light.
Is he over? Yeah, they got her over. That was like
just.
So over on sheet B, we have
Kendall will take a look to make sure.
That's awesome. Mike Fleming up against Chad Stevens. They are all square after playing the 6th end now. They've already had their 5th end break, so 3-3 after 5. And it looks like Mark Dacey has a pretty commanding lead over Greg Power right now. He's leading 6-1 after 4. But, of course, like I've been saying, lots of curling left. Still 6 ends in that game, so see what happens.
And we got a tie game, Fleming-Stevens, 3 apiece in the 5th end break. So 2 tight games and 2 that are a little more open. This is a split attempt. Seems to be curling nicely.
Looks Really good.
Shooter will roll onto the rings. You don't want to sweep it too hard and cause it to spill out, but it should spin back there, and I think that's good.
Whoa.
That's almost rolled out.
It's a pretty good shot.
So they elected to leave that high center guard, and I think that's because it is so high and there is access, but it's probably going to be a little bit of a nuisance, but at least for Team Thompson, the thinking there was have 2 shots in the rings, and then once we peel those guards, those can come into play. But Team Murphy's going to do all they can to try and literally force the issue, force a single point, or even steal here with a couple guards and trying to put a second good one in the top 4 foot. This is Paul Fleming. We're on mate stones. This one's hanging a bit. They don't want it to be deep. It's starting to slow down. So it'll stop right on the button.
You know, I mean, this really goes to show how this is such a game of inches, right? You know, he's right on the tee line. He's right on the button. But he's just enough deep that he's going to give Kendall an opportunity to go in there, right? I mean, if he's top 4 on this one.
Yeah, even top 8 foot, just sitting too.
Yeah,
it's harder to make this shot.
Yeah.
It's not an easy shot. There is a very clear guard right in Bryce's way. This one looks wide. This is all over the front guard. They're going to have to sweep to get a roll to try not and actually double guard. Maybe, I was going to say spin this on the rings. And the blue guard actually was promoted and is out counting the other stone. If you were going to hit one guard, you would want it to be the center guard, not that corner guard. So it's a pretty big miss.
Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't look like he threw it well.
Yeah, Kendall's just going out to say, look, a little pop on release.
Yep. And, you know, usually these guys can get away with that. It's the way with this straight ice. You just kind of have to adjust a little bit and just be a little softer with your release, just because it's so sensitive.
You know, you don't like to have to encourage that at all, because bad habits can form, but
you just got to do what you got to do, though, right? Like, it's very tough.
And now they probably wish they had peeled the center. Murphy's happy right now, sitting 3. Or 2. I guess that didn't quite come as far as I thought it was going to. But that Yellowstone's very much exposed. So do you peel that center guard that's high, knowing that you're going to have to deal with the top 12-foot one, or do you try and angle that yellow in right now? Go for it. I think if you angle either yellow in, it's risky.
Yeah.
We're on mate's second stone, so there won't be many shots. There's only 2 shots after this. I
feel like right now would be a real good timeout situation to take a minute to really think about it. I'm not really sure what the best option is here.
So what I think the call is, they're still trying to bring that other yellow into play and achieve a couple things with one shot here, is play an in-off. And if you come off the inside of this blue stone, this looks narrow, though, and might miss everything. Right through the hole. So I think Jamie's going to hit that Yellowstone now. This is trouble. I don't know if they called the down weight. That one really curled, and we haven't seen that with the up weight.
That was, yeah, I think they're a little surprised by that one for sure.
The only thing Jamie can't do with this one, we'll just time out, yeah. Maybe a smart call there. They haven't stopped the clock yet, though. Timers, there we go.
Stop the clock. Is he asking for 8 seconds?
Yeah,
8 seconds
Paul's
back?
astute. He wants his 8 seconds back. And it can make the difference. If you're down to under a minute left, you really want all those 8 seconds.
I I mean, I think it's smart that they call a timeout for a second here. Think about it. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that you're hitting that yellow regardless.
I think you just have to think about how you hit it. Make sure you get the inside. You cannot hit that wide and jam on the
you hit it anywhere on the inside, you roll either behind. I mean, ideally, they roll behind blues and they're, in front of the tee line, make it quite difficult. I think the other thing is, if you end up rolling a little farther over, you might be able to take that angle run back out of play. Because right now, Kendall does have the angle run back on that yellow one on the left-hand side. And if Jamie can roll this into a position that makes that angle run back a little tougher, he could really put Kendall into a bit of a pickle here.
Yeah. First objective would be to remove the stone. And Coach Bruce Lonis out there, of course, Bruce, part of the Mark Dacey 2004 champion Briar team. Lots of knowledge. He coached them last year as well. They're just talking about all these options. One little secret that I do know about the sheet D, it's not a secret if anyone's played on it, it is deadly straight, right? And we saw that on Bryce's, right where he threw. If you get it out into that path, which happens to be where this stone is, it can hang wide. So we might see a down weight here. I wouldn't be surprised. So they've decided it is that shot. I don't think the shot was in question. It was just how to play it. And of course, with 17 and a half minutes and still not done half the game, timeout wisely called. All right, Jamie's first. Doesn't have hammer here, but sitting 2. Trying to sit 3, maybe 4 actually.
He is wide right now.
Trying to sit 5.
This has to curl a pile. Is it going to curl enough?
Got up to nose almost. So, sitting 5. This is,
so
Kendall's going to save that little raise for his last. This is that spot, again, that we've seen Rock's track. But even if he can put it somewhere where it's behind cover, or if it even if it hangs and sits in front of that blue that Jamie just threw, I mean, it's cutting things down. He has hammer, but to score will be a win here for Team Thompson.
I'm a little surprised. This is, as we've seen, there is enough finish. I think he can get a good one in here. I'm a little surprised he's not playing the yellow right now.
Yeah, I might just be reserving that for the last.
Yeah.
Jamie, take it away, though.
But the other thing is, this intern will still be there, and if he misses the yellow, then Jamie's going to have to pick one side of the guard.
They can't be too hard on the sweep because they have to wait for this curl.
Really trying.
If it's a little heavy, they're going to have to play for the wick.
It looks like that's what they're electing to do. Are they going to get it? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it looked like Bryce was, the front end was acknowledging that the rock was a little heavier than what they expected, and they were trying to play the wick, and they just missed that top blue.
They needed to sweep that a second earlier to get that wick. That shot's still there, and I actually am surprised with Bryce's guard earlier in the game. I guess it was earlier this end, wicking on the guard, ran really straight. Kendall got much more curl there. Might just be throwing it a bit softer.
Yeah.
And the team would
Bryce
talk
just
about
didn't
this,
throw that one.
how they're throwing and what's going to work.
You just have to be gentle with them. But of course, there's the overcompensation where sometimes you could be a little too gentle, and then you experience a lot more curl than you expect.
So you see less ice here. I think Jamie's playing a similar shot, maybe to split his own on the top 12 that you see. This is tighter ice, and with a down weight, he could be guarding, but trying to come in again. Thought maybe it was a split on his top one, but this just looks like the straight draw call, or they're waiting for the curl to get that little split, and that'll take away that raise as well. Looks close. So shooter doesn't roll on, but if you have your opponent facing 5, not a bad position to be in.
No.
Jamie Murphy.
Not only is your opponent facing 5, there is not an easy way in at all.
No, not to score. I think at this
No.
point you might be raising to give up a steal of 2. There's the only rock that is available.
I think this is there to get your 1. But
Yes,
I think you're
with weight.
happy
Yeah.
to give up 1.
Well, my point, I guess, is just maybe play this with down weight. You can promote it even into the 4-foot.
How much weight is he throwing? I mean, with this ice, I mean, who knows? It's so straight. He could just be playing, back line for all we know.
Yeah, I think with the
But-
broom there, if he was playing any kind of weight, the broom would be somewhere close to the center of the rock, and
Yeah.
they would use the sweepers to back it up
Yeah.
if they need. So I think this is just a tap weight. If you
Just
if
really.
you don't angle it into the button area, you don't want to have enough weight that it pushes it through the rings. So you really need to, I think, play the down weight on this.
Yeah, just cut your losses, right? And
If you're tied after 5 with hammer, that's A-okay. So I need to hit this on the
He
high
has it.
side.
This is perfect. Is it perfect? Sit, sit, sit.
Real nice. I think that's just a
Just
steal
one.
of 1.
Wow.
So it is. They're looking, but I think it's
yeah.
yellow as second. So we'll call that a steal of 1, but a big shot there from Kendall Thompson to only give up a steal of 1 after facing 5.
That was awesome.
We're going to go into the break tie game 4-4, and Thompson will have hammer when we return. Catch you back soon. We are back, folks. 2018 Deloitte Tankard brought to you from the Dartmouth Curling Club and presented live on Bell 5 TV1. Thanks for tuning in. If you caught that first half and that exciting, we'll call it exciting, little tense if you're cheering on Team Thompson. Kendall was facing 5. Well-played end from Team Murphy, and we'll just say it was a wonderful last shot, and not many other shots made that end. So Team Thompson lucky to get out of this tied, I would say, with Hammer playing 6, and we'll look for some more good shot making in the second half of the game. Would you agree with that? And this is, sorry, Selena Thompson joined by Carly Jones.
Hello. Yes, Selena, I would agree with precisely what you said. You know, Jamie Murphy's team definitely had a little bit better handle on that last end, and Kendall made a beautiful shot to cut them down to 1. So we're all tied here in the 6th end, and Kendall Thompson does retain Hammer going into 6. So we'll hopefully have a just as interesting second half of the game here. I'm sure everyone at home who has been watching has been thoroughly enjoying this game. And for those of you who are just joining us, thanks for tuning in.
Oh, I got to get a couple shout-outs out of the way. I mentioned the Murphy clan is here watching, but I was doing the profiles, I think I mentioned, for these teams, and I was asking Brendan, what would you like said about yourself? When he's 27, he's curled for 19 years. And I suggested maybe he add in that he has 2 children, Alexa and Zach, 2 years old, and Zach was just born in summer 2017, and Marilyn is at home in Ottawa, and I was going to mention her, and then she also texted to say hi. So I'm glad you're watching, Marilyn, and hopefully they can make a few more shots this end. As this one over curled from Jared. They were trying to come down to that stone, the top 4 foot, that Murphy stone, and over curled, and is center guarding, double center guard. So early advantage here, I'll say, for Team Murphy with that back stone. And I think Jared's probably got a couple of mismatched rocks. There's been a couple times now this game where the first has come deep and the second has over curled or been light. And I'll have to ask them after the game, but that's tends to be my takeaway when you see something like that happening.
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth an ask. It looks like he's had a little bit of a tough game. But it feels like it's almost been systematic what's been happening with this rock. So it would be interesting to ask them and see what their thoughts are.
If you know curling at all, you know that no 2 stones are the same. You try and match them as well as possible, and some people are better than others. I know this Team Murphy is one of the most diligent about tracking stones. They have a rock book. They pay attention to every stone, what order other teams throw in, and how they feel the rocks react. And I mean, that's what's required to get you to this level, and that's why that Jamie has won the provincials 4 times.
Yeah, I did hear something recently, and this is actually the first time I've ever heard this, is that the rocks that are meant to be matched, so the 1, 2, the 3, 4, the 5, 6, the 7, 8, when they're
was
made,
A-okay from Brendan.
Yeah, not bad.
Got them all moving. Lost 2 of the guards.
So when the rocks are made and manufactured, I've been told that the rocks are made to match each other.
Yeah, I would believe that.
Yeah.
In pairs.
And I had never heard that before. I didn't realize that they were actually made to match each other for
and
when they're ready to
And
use.
it's the inserts that are different. So there's an outside circular portion, and then the insert actually has the running surface, and those can be flipped as well. So you got the part that's under the handle that we can't see right now, but that would be a running surface when the stones are flipped. So yeah, it's those inserts, and
yeah, very
I didn't know that either, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with that being said, a lot of people say now, and I've kind of given it a little bit more thought, is if you feel like you have a bad rock, so say hypothetically Jared's 2 rock is slow, he's better off, I mean, he's going to end up keeping those anyway because he can figure out how to manage them later on. But say it was Kendall's rocks, Kendall's probably better off taking the 1-2 set and giving Jared
taking
the
the
7-8.
pair.
Exactly.
So you'll see sometimes people will throw away 1 bad rock, but they actually throw away the 2 that they were throwing with, and letting the other player deal with with that. So that's a good shot as well. There are a couple ways to make that, but the important thing for Team Thompson was to stick the shooter out front. I don't think Jamie wanted Scott Stone to be quite as far in the rings as it ended up being, because things are basically in anyone's court right now. Blue is shot. Oh, no, it's not. It's yellow. Anyway, blue is in a better position, we'll say, than the yellow at the back. Blue was shot before, but there was a nice little hit on the guards with one that ran back into the rings. So this looks, I was too busy looking at another sheet to see the call. Is this the draw? You might not have seen either. Looks like the draw is being called here. Sweepers are just dusting it, which means it's probably heavy. So that's not going to help Murphy's team. That's a miss there from Paul. It is fast ice, so the tendency has been for teams to be heavy. I've seen many more heavy draws than light.
Oh, for sure.
Kendall and Bryce just having a long-distance conference call. I could get them some cans with strings attached. It would help. So the play here is to raise the yellow onto the blue. Try and miss the back yellow, of course. So high side is going to actually cross the face of the blue, although this looks like it might be nosing. Oh, they were trying to keep that line and keep this as second shot. We'll roll too far, but a nice, pretty nice result. A rock in the control zone. That's going to be able to be run back. Jamie doesn't have too much of a choice here, but to play into the 4-foot area, try and shut down that scoring area. So again, ball really depends on shot making at this point. Both teams have a chance here to make something happen.
Paul just threw this shot, so we expect him to, make a little bit of an adjustment and give this one to the sweepers to bring in.
Unless his rocks are mismatched.
Unless his rocks
kind
are
of
mismatched.
joking about that a little bit, but this looks pretty good. Sweepers guiding it in. Now Scott's on the inside trying to get the extra curl. They're trying to freeze it on the back yellow. So it's mostly buried. Mission accomplished. I think they would love to have gotten that frozen, but really hard to actually overbury on this ice. So this, you think Bryce is just playing the run?
It looks like that's what the call is.
Yeah, this is a soft
Yeah.
weight. Looked like he tossed it out a bit, but it was curling in this spot and did come back on his last. But if it's not going to come up to nose, they should sweep it and roll the shooter away.
Trying.
They didn't want to clip their own, so he got away with it. Shot stone is open.
Yeah.
Didn't have to curl up much more. They were waiting, knowing that it does curl there.
Yeah.
You just have to wait. You can't kill it with the sweeping. And they didn't. It was just straight all on its own. So chance here to kind of lock things down. Put up another guard. I don't think it'd be great if this one were in the rings.
Yeah, he's just going to look to guard this one. I mean, if you really wanted to get aggressive, he could potentially Christmas tree it and just kind of, come in top 8 foot on this
would
side
you like
here.
to explain what Christmas
tree? It's almost kind of when you angle them in such, I don't know if I can explain this in words. It's if you have a
I
guard.
tried yesterday.
Oh
It didn't
my
go
gosh,
so well.
okay. Let's just watch his shots and then maybe I'll give it an attempt later.
Well, if you can
Give me a minute to
picture a
think about
2D
it.
Christmas tree,
Okay.
one half looking at the left side or the right side and hanging ornaments off the branches, one a little bit further out than the other. Does that start to make sense?
Sure. I mean,
It is a little bit. You could, it's a pretty good guard. Anyway.
yeah.
So, do you run the blue? It's tough. Do you squirt one in? You can run the yellow. Running the blue and the yellow are fairly risky just because of where that yellow is in the back 8 foot. If you ever were to jam and leave your shooter out front, it's no good.
I don't really know what peeling the blue would do for you, though. I think.
Well, I know what Kendall's saying. The blue's a little bit lower, so a little bit closer to the button than the yellow. So Kendall's looking at coming off the very outside of the blue, almost making the hole.
The shimmy.
And the shimmy.
I'm not joking. That's what I call it, the shimmy.
I had a word for it a couple years ago. I don't remember. It was the
just shimmy it in there.
like a jiggle or the whatever it was.
Is he going to play the shimmy?
Squiggle?
No, it's a shimmy.
The shimmy.
Yeah.
He's going to play it.
Wow, this is going to be.
So you hit the blue. And he might be playing this to hit the yellow first, but I think the blue, just because it's lower, go off the back of the yellow and squirt your shooter in, and you lose both guards and get another rock in the rings, and then Jamie would have to play into the house.
Yeah, it's 2 shots with 1. He's just trying to, move that blue rock a little bit over, move his yellow a little bit over, and meanwhile get his yellow to go right through that hole and go into a really desirable position.
I think you can make it either way. You just can't go through the hole, and they're watching the line here. Looks like it's on the yellow first.
So just a little too thick. You would have liked to have hit the yellow one a little thinner.
Chance here to really lock down that 4-foot for Jamie on his first stone. Sorry, his second stone.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised that Kendall didn't try to raise his yellow stone, whether that be.
Yeah, I think he's worried about the jam blue, yellow, but you have to make something.
I don't really know if he had any really other good option. I mean, to get through that hole would have been fabulous, but it's quite difficult. And now Jamie has this opportunity to really put some pressure on Kendall for his last stone.
We got some awesome fans up here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. When some crazy shots are made or missed, we know about it.
Ooh.
So this is just a draw into the top 4-foot. Sweepers going for weight. The line's not great, so they've got Scott now on the inside trying to get that curl. These guys work pretty hard. That's probably an understatement. They work quite hard. It's a nice shot there from Jamie. So again, how do you score?
Wow. I think.
I think this is this option.
Actually, doesn't look that bad, to be honest.
No, and I think Kendall's probably throwing the in-turn with this, which is not. Well, do you think he's playing the out-turn?
Gosh.
The out-turn's going to get you lots of action, but it
might.
It
looks like with that ice, he's playing the in-turn with about the same weight he just played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the in-turn will hit it in a more flat way. Your shooter will not go at as steep of an angle across.
It's about half to a third of a rock, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the in-turn. So I think more like a third with this flatter throw. So this will be big weight.
It's very
really close. Wow.
Wow, it's amazing.
Well, we don't have to say it, folks. Everyone in behind just had a big surprise. What a wonderful shot. 6N scores 1 with an in-off against 2 right to the button. That's Kendall Thompson. So he'll lead 5-4 after 6 ends. And how are we looking on the other sheets? We're all tuned into this one.
They're showing a replay of it over on another TV here.
Wow.
Oh, yes. That is good. That is good.
Say these guys are pretty good at curling. I think they would say he just saved his team's butt with.
That is a game-saving shot right there.
All right, I'm going to give you guys the updates. Stuart Thompson leads Brent McDougall 6-3 with Hammer playing 7. Mark Dacey continues to lead Greg Power that's the 4th end, 6-3 with Hammer. So the same score again on those 2 sheets. And stealing 1 in 7, Mike Fleming leads Chad Stevens 4-3. think everyone's still settling down from that awesome shot there. At least everyone up here is. On the ice, they don't have, what are we playing, 7? Yeah, they don't have a ton of time, so these teams can't celebrate too much. So center guard, more of the same. Corner guard, now the come around. I think that center guard might actually be in, but Jamie's gonna make a play for his 2 here. I think we'll see if it doesn't shape up that they'll bail and maybe try and blank. But these guys have to pick up the pace. This is one of 4 ends remaining, and they only have 13 and 14 minutes left. About 14 minutes each on the clock.
Just doesn't get it by.
Yeah, it looked like the Sweepers gave up on it, and could have been a good shot. That top one definitely is in now.
Jamie's just getting Kendall to confirm that it is in before he makes a play on it.
Of course, the free guard zone, you cannot remove an opponent's stone from play if it is in the guard zone, which is in front of the rings, until after the forced stone has been delivered. So that's why Leeds don't play a ton of hits. They actually aren't allowed to take stones out of play if they are guards in the opponent's rocks. And they overswept this one. They were looking to roll the shooter, actually, and I think make contact on the second yellow. But the shooter stays out front. So we're out of the free guard zone now. If Kendall wanted, he could hit the guard, but he's happy to try and force Jamie to a single here.
Just looking to get some separation with these stones. Curling quite a bit now.
Yeah, they just didn't get it by. They'll get separation, but it leaves a double. So you might see it's pretty flat. We're getting a little bit of congestion here, so you and it's definitely more flat this way if you play it the lower stone first. So Scott's just going to try and hit this quite thick, kind of get the shooter to run into the side of that far over yellow. This one is running tight. They're sweeping for line. Is the guard in play? Oh, and they squeaked that one by.
It's hard to tell if you threw that one tight or if maybe it's just curling a bit more now there.
Yeah, that's a few in a row there. So a hit here. Like to roll the shooter toward the center. Looks like they'll get a little bit of a roll. Don't want it out into the open.
It's
so
a pretty
it stays
good
a
shot.
piece tucked under the blue.
On this ice, it's so straight. Any piece tucked under, you're
yeah,
have a hard time getting the roll under.
The only thing now you see is there is a real good chance for Scott to make this soft weight hit and roll behind that corner guard. So this will be
could be
a pretty critical shot here.
Could be an end saver here for Murphy.
Yeah, with a couple guards and 2 stones in the rings, it looks less and less as the end progresses, like a blank will happen.
Phil on this one right away. He's pretty tight out of his hand.
Looking for that roll. Wow, what a shot there.
Awesome
Scott Zachary. And I'll give Phil Kroll credit for the sweep there. His face is a little red. Good job, Phil. So, is this visible for Bryce Everest?
You know, it goes back to what you said there. It's not, but it goes back to what you said. We are seeing a little bit more curl towards the wing. So, you know, if he throws that nice down weight, he should be able to get this.
So we are getting the sweep, which means it's probably pretty close. Did they let it go too far? Oh, and a wick on the guard. Just missed sweep call. Beautifully thrown.
That one's tough, especially when, you know, it's so close and you want to make it perfect. And
well, you couldn't see any part of that blue stone. So here's the chance for 2 here for Team Murphy. And they're trying to keep this one straight. Do not want to roll anywhere close. So now it's going to be a little bit of a game for Team Thompson. Hit the open one and try and roll your shooter closer to that. Now, not totally buried, but still pretty buried stone. That's the unfortunate thing. You're playing so hard to get yours by the guard, and you wick it, but not by much, so it doesn't move it much. You're better off actually letting it go sooner, but if you think there's a chance to get it by, you have to try. This one's going to track. This is that straight path, so this will be just the nose.
just tracks so much there. It's so hard to get the inside. You have to almost, you know, throw it perfect.
Team Murphy doesn't have to hit this. It's not shot. Would you ever come around the corner guard again? I'd be pretty tempted.
I mean, maybe your blue rockets is such good position there. If you ever set up that double, your run's gone.
It's just tempting to try and get 3 points.
Yeah. No, I can see why he's playing this. Just, you know, keep it simple, right? No need to get fancy.
Is that the KISS principle?
Sure.
Keep it simple, silly?
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, Sally.
And just to update everyone at home, we do have our first final over on Sheet E with Stuart Thompson defeating Brent McDougall. Took 4 in the 7th end and won that game 10-3. So now Stuart Thompson is 3-2 and still in the hunt for sure.
So the double is here. This looks pretty much a half rock, maybe a little thicker. And this again is the intern. This is that straight pass. So they're actually calling, if you've never seen this before, negative ice.
I would say it's about a half rock.
So normally you'd see a hit be on the outside of the rock because you will get curl and it'll cross the face. But in this case, Kendall is throwing the intern, and the broom is actually narrow of where he needs to hit this rock. Well, he probably needs to hit it right where the broom is, actually. It's floating out. Like to roll it in. Rolls into Sit's second shot. You might see Jamie go for that draw now, though. Because if he hits the Yellowstone, his shooter will not be in the rings.
Is there potentially a split here, Selena?
Yeah, there is, or just a straight tap.
I think if he just hits...
He doesn't like that come around that I like.
No, I think with this, well, you get a few things out of this. You are going to move your rock off the center line and open up that 4-foot. If for some reason this shot doesn't go your way, then Kendall's going to have a hard time hiding.
It's true.
If he makes this perfect, though, I think he's looking to hit probably about 2/3 of this rock with probably about back line weight, and that might be enough to roll on his shooter. But I think first and foremost, he just really wants to move this blue rock into the rings.
Yeah, even half a rock, I think your shooter, maybe you have to hit a little thinner to get your shooter roll in. But this looks like just straight tap, actually. This is really curling. Oh, they are playing the split. I think they left it too long, though. Well, what do you think of that? The both blues are mostly guarded.
Oh, this is tough. What do you do here? He's looking at hitting that blue rock, going through that port.
Doesn't look too fun, in my humble opinion.
It's definitely there.
Yeah, there is a port. You can see for sure. The other option, you're never going to see Kendall draw in this case. He's just trying to eliminate stones, is to run his yellow stone that he just threw into the blue. Problem is, this is deadly straight. It's almost like you play it the same as the last to call
I
even
was
less
just going to
ice.
say that. He just threw in the spot, so he has a fair idea of how it's going to react. The separation between the two rocks is not a whole ton, so it does make the shot a bit easier too.
Yeah, and I think Kendall's probably going to play this with a down weight. He played the up weight just now and it tracked, and if you hit this on the high side, so the left side as we're looking at it, you miss the blue stone. So you can play the down weight and actually let it curl and control it with sweeping. And have your stone that's raised be guarded after all is said and done.
Yeah, you can get shot rock and get a guard, and Jamie, well, you're essentially forcing Jamie and making him make a really good shot not to give up one. So.
Well, so you see this is negative ice again. It's on the inside of the center of the rock. But if Kendall was throwing the same weight, he'd be giving even less ice, not more than the last. Hard to believe this is more ice. But that's why I think, again, this is going to be the down weight, like a control. Looks like how he's kicking out. You can usually tell how they're doing. Now it's curling.
Calling them on.
It's close and good for one. Shooter rolls on. Blue stays shot, but a good result there from Kendall after a couple of ends not quite going their way, and a last shot saver from the skip.
Jamie's going to play the draw here. He doesn't need to hit that yellow stone. He just needs to make sure he gets full 8-foot on this one.
Yeah, it just has to, not even full 8, just has to outcount that yellow stone that you see in front of Paul's broom.
It's a nice opportunity for Jamie to find draw weight, especially now that we're in the 7th end, and ice conditions start changing around now. So
I'm just realizing now we might not have indicated, but I'm sure Sean just caught that we are playing 7, not 6, as it indicates on the screen.
I didn't
and by we, I mean the people out on the ice, not us sitting in here, comfortable in our chairs, watching a TV screen. This one looks good.
This one.
Worth a little mercy sweep there from Bryce, but that'll stop. So 2 blue, and Jamie Murphy will take his first lead of the game in the 7th end, 6-5. Thompson with hammer playing 8, so you get to change that little ticker again. There we go. Sean's
8.
Sean's our friend right now. Thank you. Of course, if we haven't mentioned it before, I know we have. You're watching on Bell 5 TV1, and we have an awesome camera crew, and I'll be humble, a wonderful commentating crew as well, bringing you action on sheets C and D. If you're following the scores on nscurl.com, you will find a video link as well to the stream. And even if you think it's not being streamed, I can guarantee it is. We have sheets C and D broadcast.
Well, actually,
tomorrow as well.
Yeah. Did we already mention sheet C was done? I'm not sure if we did. We do have our second final, which is our other broadcast. So if any of you were watching that game and you're joining us now, thanks for coming over to the better sheet. Just kidding. Both sheets were good, but
John and Dan are awesome, and I'm sure that you enjoyed watching that game. And Carly Jones is here, Selena Thompson as well. Thanks for flipping over, and to everyone who already is watching, thanks for sticking with us. This is a tight one, a 1-point game all day, except for the big 3 in the first, but otherwise it's been tight every end.
And I should mention, so Dacey did manage to win his game over Greg Power. Took 2 and 7, and so won that game 8-3. So Dacey now improves to 3 and 2 as well. Moving into tomorrow, which is the last day of round robin competition. The winner of this game, of course, will improve their record to 4-1, and potentially, well, at least will be for sure in first place, either alone or in a tie, depending on what happens over on sheet B, where Chad Stevens, who is 3-1, is playing against Mike Fleming, and Mike Fleming does have the lead 4-3 after 7 ends.
Yeah, Mike has the lead, and he's sitting 1. And we're down to last rock. So I'll try and keep you updated there. Can't see it on the feed, but that's A-okay. It's a pretty critical situation over there. Chad down 1, does maybe have a shot for 2. Would like to score and go up 1 and 8. So, and that's intense. Chad will remain tied for first place in the round robin with a win here. Jared Brown playing the come around here. Sweeper's working really hard to get a piece of this buried. It's taking its final sideways motion. It stays fairly straight all the way down the sheet, and then you get that last bit of curl. They managed to bury that about 3/4, as we see from the view from the hack. Cameras are a little higher than the players' heads, so we have an easier time seeing where the rocks are. It probably looks pretty bad from Scott's perspective, but he's going to play the run back. And this one maybe a little bit wide, just ended up going for the straight peel. Teams made up a little bit of time last end. They didn't seem to take as much time calling the shots. They both have 10 and 11 minutes left, which is enough to play 3 ends. It's not extra, though. So we'll have to be cognizant of that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Kendall plays on this shot. Kendall does have hammer here in the 8th end.
The 8th end is a time when teams would really like to score. So Murphy will want maybe to see a blank or even steal here. And of course, Kendall Thompson would like to score 2. I don't think they'd be upset with only 1, but you'd like to extend that lead, or actually gain the lead back, sorry. This one's light.
Really working on it.
Not anymore.
Just gonna come up short.
They did bounce off, so that's all right. You'd never want to leave overlapping guards. That's kind of a death wish in curling if you need to score. But the shot rock's open, the only rock in the rings. So this is Scott Zachary on his second. And I'm guessing if they're not here watching, Scott's family is watching online.
I did see Kevin, Scott's brother, here when I first arrived on the premises. For any of you who know Scott or Kevin, or even if you don't, they are brothers, and they actually own a clothing company together. They own and operate New Scotland Clothing Co. And you'll see lots of curlers, and I feel, well, they've been running now for a few years, and I'll be out and about, and I see lots of people wearing their stuff. It's quite the popular brand now.
2014 when they started, anytime I saw someone with a shirt, oh, you must be a curler.
Or you must know Kevin and Scott.
And now I still want to say that, but I have to stop myself and look away because I just end up looking like a weirdo trying to talk to people.
Yeah, no, I think they really enjoy what they do, and we all enjoy their stuff too, so it's a win-win.
And they sponsor a number of teams.
Yep.
So their logos are all over the place. So that's stone rolling out. Well, that wasn't the goal there. No. They had a good chance. They could actually have rolled under on that. Maybe a bit overthrown from Brendan,
you
compensating from his last.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely want to stick that. I think, you stick that anywhere, and Jamie's hitting it. So an opportunity here for Paul to really put some pressure on the Thompson rink.
And just while I think of it, I'll forget if I don't say it now, but we'd like to wish good luck to the 2 Nova Scotia teams that are representing us at the New Holland Junior Championships that start this weekend. That's in Shawinigan, Quebec. So a couple weeks ago, actually, it was about 2 weeks exactly?
Yeah, it was.
No, just a week ago.
Yeah, it was just before New Year's, actually.
Oh, yeah,
it was the weekend before the New Year's. Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, Caitlin Jones on the junior women's side, and Matthew Manuel for the junior men's. They're off today to Shawinigan to compete at the Nationals. So congrats to them and good luck. We'll be watching.
Yeah, 2 very strong teams. 2 teams that have both been to the national championship more than twice. And I'm sure lots of high hopes and expectations for them. So we wish them all the best. And hope they have a good time and play well, and hopefully bring back a championship to Nova Scotia. So he gets the one guard. I think he would like to see a couple more rocks go, but it's now an opportunity for Jamie to, it looks like he's signaling for the guard. Just cover up what's exposed of that blue stone in the rings.
So same path for Paul Fleming here. They don't need this one to be in the rings. Might try and get a little biter out of it, but turns out A-okay. It's not in a great scoring position, but certainly a forced position here. You can lose both guards, though. So we'll get some action off all those stones. Really nice shot there, Bryce Everest. I'm guessing that Jane and Rob in Calgary, Bryce's parents, are watching. Of course, his partner Carly's sitting right beside me.
Mm-hmm. Trying to be as non-biased as possible while watching this game.
I know, if you're a Murphy fan, please, please.
You know, I have a high appreciation for good shots made and good shots called.
Absolutely. This has been giving up 3 in the first is tough for Team Murphy. They're used to taking the lead early, and they've really been putting the pressure on.
Yeah, it's been a really great game to watch. Lots of good shots made. You know, all these guys capitalizing in the right time. It's really nice to see, and not just on this sheet, but the whole week so far has been really good. All these guys are playing very good, and you know, now's the time. It's Tankard week, and this is what everyone plays for the year. So,
unless you win it, and then of course you're playing for the
Yes.
Briar week. You just change.
But 7 out of 8 teams are not going to win.
Ooh,
so.
speaking of the Briar, I mentioned earlier, but if you forgot or you didn't hear, it's March 3rd to 11, and it's in Regina, Saskatchewan at the Brandt Center. So everyone here is vying for a trip to beautiful Saskatchewan.
Make sure you bring your toque and mittens.
Yes.
It's going to be pretty cold.
We did have a little sample of that the past week or so. It's been frigid temperatures here in Nova Scotia. Much warmer day today.
+9 at one point, I think. When I left
Yeah,
work.
I've been inside the curling rink, so I don't even know.
That was 9 degrees on my car when I left work at 4 o'clock. So a little shocking to the system when it's been much colder than that.
So it's funny, a perfectly placed guard. I think if there was any part of that shot stone exposed, you'd see Kendall going after it. Jamie's guard is so perfect that it's almost forcing Kendall to just say, oh, I'm going to go for 2. You can see there's, you
really
cannot see that
interesting.
shot stone.
A lot of teams would look at maybe playing the run back.
Yeah, Kendall's been on the draw game. He says, I know my draw weight, and I'm comfortable with it. So he's got to get a piece of this buried. It's probably going to be back 4 foot to do so, and he's banking on Jamie having a miss, I think.
This is an extremely aggressive call. If he can make this really good and get us to, kind of like you were saying earlier, Selena, I think he's got to think about the goal of the end here is you want to score. I think Kendall will be happy even if he ties it up.
Exactly. Scoring an 8 is critical.
Yeah.
We always talk about that too, or having the hammer in 10 hypothetically, or theoretically, I suppose. And this one looks good.
He might be able to get this in a spot where Jamie might not be able to get it. They're sweeping
they're
it.
by. Did it wick? Oh, it just did.
Oh,
I think it wicked the back of the rock. Wow. I sound like Russ Howard. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, man. That's too bad. That was a really nice throw, and they were calling the sweeping, just couldn't quite get it by. So Jamie has a hit on it. He's probably going to want to roll his shooter away, actually.
Yeah, he'll roll it away, and Kendall will most likely be left with the same draw for his single. The advantage being he just threw it, so. But a little bit of an unfortunate break there. Really looked like he was going to get by that top one.
So up 1, playing 8. This is Jamie Murphy's last shot with 1 stone remaining for Team Thompson. Murphy trying to remove the yellow stone. This one is curling also, though.
Phil's sweeping this one like nobody's business. Oh, letting up a bit.
So the draw is available, but if you were ever to be a little light and over curl, you'd be given up to 2 points. So the soft weight hit is the call here. Same kind of shot that Jamie just threw for a single. Very close to a potential shot for 2 for Kendall. So we'll have to settle for the single. And he's got to make the shot. He's facing 2. Down 1 point, last rock, 8th end.
Just cleaning it.
So that's
Right
a single.
to the nose.
Tie game after 8. Murphy will have hammer in 9. And what are we looking at for time? We've got 9 and 7 minutes for Murphy and Thompson respectively. So that should be enough to complete the 2 ends. Certainly enough for Murphy, maybe a little tight for Thompson. And we were talking about the Fleming-Stevens game. I didn't see the shot, but Chad Stevens made something for 2 in 8. He did score 2 points, now leads 5-4. If we're too slow for you, you can see the score is updated on nscurl.com. And again, we thank you for joining us here at the Deloite Tankard. We're at the Dartmouth Curling Club, and you're watching on Bell 5 TV1.
It's been a few years now that Bell TV1 has been broadcasting the provincials. We're very thankful for them being able to do this, as I'm sure many others who are watching right now are as well.
For sure. If you can't make it out to the club here, of course, it's really exciting to watch in person. We actually do have seats out in the ice shed, so if you can make it down, come check us out. You see most people are inside. It's a little less cold in there. But we're really pleased to bring you this coverage on Bell 5 TV1. Been an awesome broadcast partner. The juniors were on a couple weeks ago, and we will also have the seniors broadcast for you. You'll have to ask someone else what the dates are, but I'll try and update you in a future broadcast. So, tie game. Team Thompson would like a force. They would like to force Murphy to a single and have hammer in 10, down 1. I'm sure they'd love to steal too, but we're bringing in the age-old question. What do you want to do? Be up 1 without, down 1 with? Murphy would love a blank. They'd love to carry hammer into 10 in a tie game. The stats tell you that that's the way to go. The win-loss records for teams going with hammer and without, up 1 or down 1 in 10. The stats say that you're better off down with hammer. Chances of scoring 2 are good.
Yeah, it's a really close stat. I've talked about this a lot. I used to be very in favor of being up 1 without. Because I think it may be a slight advantage. I honestly think it's 55-45.
Up 1 without.
Up 1 without.
It's close. It's funny because everyone, I'm here saying everyone says the stats say you should be down 1 with, and I've always kind of thought I'd kind of like to be up 1 without. You go really hard for the steal. You don't care if you give up
Yeah, and if
you
you're
could give up a bunch, but you try and steal.
and you're up, yeah, exactly. You're up one without, and you play almost like a conservative steal game.
Yeah, you get to throw
Yeah.
first. Also, you get
Throw
2 guards.
first, exactly. And you keep control of that front. Where if you end up forcing their team, you're going into the extra with hammer.
Well, thank you, Carly. You were one of the first people that has agreed
Yeah.
with me on that. So you are my new best friend.
Oh, I already was.
Yes. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, another interesting stat too. I don't know about being tied, but I do know that if you score in the 8th end, you usually win about like 70% of your games, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the big number that I think people are more focused on nowadays when we harp on scoring in 8.
Exactly. But typically, I'm not too sure about being tied, but definitely going up 1 after 8 comes with that advantage.
Absolutely. We have a tie game, so we're not even worried about that. This is a freeze
Sweep
attempt
in this
as
one.
Jared was missing, and so Bryce has taken on inside sweeper duties. Trying to get this one by the guard, frozen. I think
That's a great
Brendan
shot.
got to the inside of the blue. Awesome shot. And it was a really nice one from Phil as well. This is an interesting setup to an end where you know Murphy would be wanting to blank, but now they have a bunch of stones to deal with. So I think now we're on the next shot is decision time. Do you bail or do you go for the points? They are sitting 1, but usually the rock that's the furthest back in a lineup is the most vulnerable. So this is the up weight. Going for the rock that was actually just thrown, and that's a pistol.
Yeah, I think that was a plan B. It looked like he was calling to hit the top ones.
I think so.
Yeah. But they were quick to call the plan B, which was good. So a
Yeah,
lot
and
of
it's
teams
always
would-
in your mind.
yeah.
You tend, when you have something like that, if you're trying to hit a rock that's behind a guard, you say, go for this one, but we'll play it tight, and if you get the guard, that's fine, and then you can sweep it pretty aggressively.
So it looks like Kendall's just looking for the same shot here from Brennan.
Yep. So this is shutting down the scoring area. They like a force here. This one looks like it was tossed a bit wide.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit heavier than the last one.
Yeah, it sure is. Just got in a track, and I think if it had taken the curl, it might have pulled. There you see it's really curling now, but too little too late. That'll slide right out the back.
Yeah, a little bit of
So-
an unfortunate miss there.
So
It's,
interesting position for Jamie Murphy. He's okay with the blank, and normally that would mean you
What?
peel some guards, but
Yep.
he's saying we can get 3 here. This is very aggressive.
I know exactly what you mean. You would want to peel because you want to make sure you keep that front open, especially going into 10. But
Yeah,
you're
preserve your
sitting 2
scoring
though.
ability. Yeah.
If you can get anywhere on the inside of this, then Kendall is going to be chasing for the rest of the end. So I think, even though this may seem a bit backwards, and, Jamie did notion that, I guess we're playing the draw.
Yeah, you say,
Yeah.
we're in it. And this is where conventional curling theory doesn't do much for you. It just says, try and blank. But there's lots of other factors that go into the decision. And that one didn't quite get curled over enough, so it is exposed. It's almost edge to edge, but a chance to maybe play a soft weight, and it's all about rock positioning for Team Thompson here to cut things down. If the other team is going to leave you those guards, let's use them.
So what kind of weight do we expect to see here, Selena?
I think this will be a down weight board, maybe control. It is curling around that center line. And I think this is maybe just a solid board. Looks like it's floating out wide again, though. They seem to have trouble with this path here. And that'll wick. That makes the shot for Murphy. They almost would have been better to sweep that right by. We can't hear them, but apparently I can read lips. The team's worried about time. They have 7.5 minutes. That's plenty of time to finish this end and play the next. Front end's like, oh, let's call a timeout. And Jamie's literally saying, we have time and we need to talk about this. And he's right. So Paul could, make his way down a little faster. It would help him. But it's a quick discussion. I think they should peel now, honestly. Team Thompson's going to be having to freeze and make some soft weight shots. And if they make something good, I think you want it accessible. I'd peel here. They're guarding. Those are the two most opposite shots in the world.
Where Bryce ended up putting that bluestone, I think is where Jamie wanted Paul's to go, to be honest.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Ugh. No one wants to see that in the ninth end. Well, except for Jamie. Jamie's probably pretty happy about that, but. So he's electing to play the guard. It's I like the guard. Again, it's kind of backwards and a little unconventional, but
I know it's.
How else are they going to get in here? They have to hit the guards.
Yeah, maybe I changed my mind. I like the guard now that I see it. So no, like you said, Carly, no choice here. Gonna have to run this back. This is peel weight. They're gonna hope to get a few stones moving, and Bryce will be hitting this on the nose. So the shooter should stay there. They're sweeping now. They're gonna maybe make the double peel. It's just really hanging in that spot. They just don't have good command of it there. So we're down to skip stones. Murphy sits 3. If things stay like this, he'll have an open draw for 4. That would be a nail in the coffin of this game. So this is a tap. And I think Team Murphy's just picked up, we said Team Thompson really is struggling in this path and getting things to go straight. Just watching Paul's throw there, he really has a nice soft release, and I don't think he does that all the time, but for this playing surface in particular, to just a very gentle release, and they are getting that curl, and that's again, a great shot. We're gonna see another run back.
Yeah, Kendall, I think you're going to see Kendall throw some heat, and he's going to be trying to move some granite, get some of these rocks out of here.
This is just all about, they're trying to force 2 here, basically. But you play this right, you can angle it, hit, I think, the high side of this blue stone. So on the right-hand side, just to the right of where Bryce's broom is. And you can run it in across the face of that center line blue and run that into the pile. And if it all goes according to plan, you can see 3 blues gone after this. So I think a little high side will do it here. So here's the throw. And this one is grabbing the center line, so it's curling early. And it won't catch anything in the back. And that's the struggle on that spot in the ice. If you're anywhere near that center line, it's taking off. And if you're wide, it's going straight. So they've been definitely caught in this game, or this end so far. It's interesting, this is the first end that's really happened for one of these teams. They had a couple shots that curled more, but they were able to control them with sweeping, but it's really been in this particular out-turn path. I think all of their shots.
I really don't know why.
Out-turns here.
Yeah. I mean, Jamie's talking about coming in the rings, but I think you just toss one out front, really, right where he's showing there. No deeper than that.
Yeah, it's the team with hammer throwing the center guard, but you're protecting 4 stones. I mean, there's no way to that button. I don't think they need to think about this one too much. I mean, what else is? They'll take the time to talk. They still have a timeout, and might want to save that for the last end, but might be well played here.
Their clock is going. Is someone going to turn their clock off?
Oh, they didn't call a timeout.
Oh, they didn't. Okay, I thought they did.
Don't worry, Paul would have noticed.
Yeah. Hey, give me my 8 seconds back.
So if you put the guard out front, there's that run, the same type of shot. Kendall just missed it, so, could go for it. Could put another one in the rings. I think if you guard, you might see a draw on the intern side from Kendall. It's tough. Any shot that Team Thompson's going to play is tough, so that's why I think you don't need the most amount of thinking. You're trying to secure 2 or more, and
yeah,
I think a guard does that. The best way for Kendall to limit the score is to make a run back triple right now, and if you guard that, you're in good position.
Yeah. It's hard to say what Kendall will do on his next one after this. He may elect to try to eliminate some blues, but after his shot, there's going to be maybe 5 blue rocks in the rings, and at that point, you may almost just be better off trying to draw into the pile and cutting your losses. So last shot here for Jamie Murphy in the 9th end.
No, this is his first.
Oh, second. Sorry, first. He does have hammer.
Round. They are playing it into the rings. I thought they would go for that guard, but this is again aggressive. It's his style of play, and as a team, they decided this is their best way to guarantee a score of 3.
And it sits down right just shy of the 4 foot. So that's a pretty good shot.
Yeah, so
he's got to be happy with that
Kendall
one.
and Bryce would have talked about this, what their shot is, as Team Murphy was having their discussion. What are we going to do here? So
this is a draw that I was talking about where, get to a point where, what's hitting going to do for you?
You're in it.
It's a 9th end. And whether you give up 5, you give up 4, you give up 3, it's not going to make a huge difference. You might as well just stick one into the 4 foot, maybe only give up 2, and go into your next end and try to get 2.
Exactly. And you did see in that last shot, looking from the hack, there is a bit of a stagger. So you've got the yellow guard. There we are. Thank you, Sean. And then there's a bit, you can curl around it, get behind that blue stone, curl around it, and maybe bury this. It's not going to get shot, but make his best effort at it. Sweepers on it, but don't seem convinced they need to go too hard right now. They'll watch the line. Going for 4 foot here. Need to get some finish out of this, so they'll take this as deep as it needs to go. They certainly outcount the 2 stones and the 12 foot and also that one that Jamie just threw. Murphy still sits 2. And he can see a good chunk of this yellow stone. It just didn't get the finish that they needed. Great weight. I think they needed to have the sweeper to get it to curl on it.
Yeah, no, the weight was definitely there. So it looks like you can see about half of this stone. And just be looking to remove the stone. There's really no need to stick your shooter.
No, it'll be a score of 5 if that yellow's gone.
Yeah, I still think we'll see him throw, that nice control weight, because we have seen a lot of rocks hang in this path. So now he's throwing his last stone of the end.
There you go. You'll get it right at one point.
Yeah.
2 chances to get it right. All right, last stone in the 9th end, Jamie Murphy. With this, he likely will score 5, and I think we'll see handshakes if it can be made. This is that straight path in the ice, but like Carly said, the down weight being played, once it's by the guard, I think they're safe. Shooter will stick around, so it'll be 6, and that's handshakes. Murphy retains his tie, at least for now, for first place in the Deloite Tankard here. Thanks for watching on Bell 5 TV1. Check out nscurl.com for the updates on the Stevens-Fleming game. Stevens up 8-4, and pick us up tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. And if you're out west, a little earlier, Pinckney versus Jones in the Scotties, Arsenault versus La Douceur. Those are our 2 feature games. Join us tomorrow morning and all day for us rounding up the round robin. On behalf of everyone, our broadcaster, Bell 5 TV1, Carly Jones, myself, Selena Thompson, thanks for joining and have a great night.